Hey guys, welcome to Green Bean Fiction. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku chosen by Venom and fell for Ochako? Movie. This story is Izuku, Alianza Symbiotica by LeonardoGeron. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button, as your one like motivates me to bring more stories, and subscribe the channel if you are new so you won't miss our latest videos. We see the same situation as in all my stories. Izuku is a child, very sad because he can't be a hero due to the lack of a quirk, leading him to a depression that no other child has experienced, to finally ask his mother, "Can I be a hero?" His mother, just like in the series, burst into tears. 1 week later, now we're looking at a rather strange dog. It was strange because it had black eyes, not the common kind a dog has, but empty and without any kind of shine. It's great that I was able to escape from that idiot. He was really pathetic. I didn't have a good relationship with him. This dog continued wandering until he reached a forest, but he was not alone. What's that noise? Seeing a boy with green hair like his eyes, crying inconsolably while sitting next to a tree. Izuku. Crying, "Why did I have to be born? Maybe Kachan is right. I'm a good for nothing, a Deku." Noticing the dog, "Oh, hi." The animal approached as if to get a ride. "There's nobody here. Let's see if this one is compatible." Suddenly the dog fainted next to Izuku. Midoriya's mind. "Izuku. Where am I? Am I dead?" He said the last part fearfully. "Relax, you're not dead, maybe." Izuku. Who are you? "My name is Venom and you're Izuku Midoriya, right?" A humanoid being appeared, almost 3 meters tall, but it was completely black and had a wide, sharp smile with sharp teeth. Izuku. How do you know my name?" Very scared by his appearance. Venom. "Not only that, but you're also a quirkless person and your dream of being a hero has gone to shit." Izuku. "Yes, and what do you want to achieve with that?" Venom. "What I want is first to make a deal." Izuku. "A deal?" Venom. "Yes, but it will be another time. They came to get you." After saying that, the green-haired boy's mind cleared and he returned to reality, noticing that his mother was there. Inko. "Son, where were you?" Izuku. Inko. "It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're okay," with tears in her eyes. After this scene, Inko took her son to his room, which was decorated with a picture of the number 1 hero, All Might. Izuku. "So it was all a dream." Venom. "No, kid." Izuku. "What, Venom, where are you?" Venom. "I'm here." From Izuku's back a black mass was forming until it revealed the being itself. "Here I am." Izuku. "Ah." Venom. "Silence, your mother is asleep." Covering his mouth. "Now I want you to listen to me, understood?" The green-haired boy nods. Izuku. "Mr. Venom, what are you?" Looking at him fearfully. Venom. "I am a symbiote." Izuku. "Symbiote?" Venom. "Yes, I am a specimen from another planet who has been here for a very long time." Izuku. "And you come to kill humanity?" Venom. "At first, yes, but I grew fond of you, and you remember I wanted a deal with you." Izuku. "Why yes?" Venom. "You wanted to be a hero, right?" Izuku. "Yes, but I don't have a quirk." Venom. "Who needs it? With me, we can be the greatest heroes in history. Think about it. With me, nothing and no one will stop you." The last part was said maliciously. Izuku. "And what do you want in return?" Venom. "I want a peaceful life. The rest only wanted me to do evil and for their own benefit." "But you're a child who wants to be a hero and help everyone with a smile, aren't you?" Izuku. "If that's what I want, then you help me and I'll let you live in my body." Venom. Indeed, nodding. "Then, I'll try." Izuku didn't shake its hand, but instead gratefully embraced the symbiote. Izuku. Thank you so much." On the verge of tears. Venom. "Well, don't cry, let's not get sentimental." Izuku. "Okay, and what do I tell my mother?" Venom. "Tell him I'm your quirk, but there was a delay. If not, let me explain." Izuku. "Okay," yawning. "Okay, I'm going to sleep, good night." Venom. "Good night, child." Notices he's asleep. "Well, I'll have to investigate this country and what kind of heroes it has here." Until the next morning. The birds are singing. The bright sun appears in the window of a boy and an alien on the computer. Venom. "I think that's it." I know who the threats are and who aren't. We have to be very careful with Endeavor, it's best if we destroy him. Izuku, now awake, sees that the symbiote was in the computer. Izuku. Hey Venom, what are you doing? Venom. Investigating the heroes here. Izuku. But you should have asked me. Venom. Yes, but if I did, you wouldn't stop talking like crazy about all the heroes, would you? Izuku. Right, Venom. Approaching, remember this. I'm connected to you, meaning I can see everything you see, I can feel your emotions, even what you're thinking. Izuku. Okay, Inko. Son, come and eat. Izuku. I'm coming, Mom, addressing Venom. Do you think we should tell him? Venom. Of course, mothers always find out everything. The dwarf went to the table to have breakfast, and when he finished he asked his mother to talk to him. Inko. Son, is something wrong? Izuku. Mom, I have good news. Inko. And what are they? Izuku. I have a quirk. Inko. But how come the doctor said you didn't have it? Izuku. Yes, I have a mom. Look, Venom, introduce yourself. Venom. Okay, Inko. What is that thing? Venom. Hello, everything alright? I'm your son's quirk, Inko. But he told me. Venom. Believe me, I'm his quirk. There are some people whose quirks are delayed or whose powers can be sentient. Seriously, investigate. Inko. Are you sure? Is that true, son? Izuku. Yes, Mom, is this my power? Hugging him. Inko. Oh, how cute. Well, I believe you. It's best if they go to the garden. Both. Agreed. We see a little green-haired boy in a park looking for his best friend, Kachan, as he called him. Izuku. Kachan. Bakugo. Deku, what do you want? Aggressively. Izuku. Kachan, I wanted to tell you that I already have a quirk, looks while spitting out black saliva. Bakugo. Well, mine's better. Venom. How arrogant. Izuku. Tranquillo Venom. Izuku and Bakugo were playing peacefully like normal children until their mothers arrived. When the two Midoriyas got home, the little boy went straight to his room. Izuku. Venom. Nervously. Venom. What's wrong, kid? Izuku. Do you remember when you said you could turn me into the next hero? Venom. Pouring his head out of Izuku's body to look him in the face. First, all your senses will be heightened. For example, you can hear a scream within a 10-kilometer radius, or you can have hawk-like vision. Izuku. Is there anything else I should know? Curious and excited. Venom. Another thing, your speed and strength can also increase, but the more they grow, the better. Izuku. Wow, then when I grow up I'll be able to be a really strong hero. He said this while having stars in his eyes. Venom. Yes, but we will be very strong, even stronger than All Might. Izuku. Haha, that's funny, but he saw Venom wasn't laughing. Seriously, we can be just as strong as All Might. Impressed by that, Venom. Of course we will be the future #1, no matter what it takes, he said the last part with a bit of malice. Izuku. Thank you very much. Venom. What child? Izuku. What do you mean, what? You'll help me fulfill my lifelong dream of becoming a hero and saving you all with a smile. He said this while hugging the symbiote again. Venom. Yeah, I don't like affection, leaving Izuku dejected, but the smile thing is fixed now, smiling in a macabre way that amused the boy, and you'd better go to sleep, it's 12 o'clock. Izuku. Ha, but tomorrow is Saturday. Venom. True, but we'll train tomorrow, so you can be a good vessel. Izuku. Okay, see you tomorrow. He covers himself with the sheets and finally falls asleep like a rock. Venom. Wow, of all the people I formed a bond with, they only used me for their own personal gain and didn't care about my condition. They even threatened me with fire if I didn't obey them. Looking at Izuku, who was sleeping peacefully, I think I can get used to this. The next day we see the Midoriyas in a forest. Inko. Venom, are you sure it's safe here? Look, there could be wild animals or a villain. Venom. Don't worry, Mrs. Midoriya, I'll protect him. Staring at her. Inko. Okay, I trust you. Looking at her son Izuku, if anything happens, call me and I'll come right away, okay? Izuku. Yes, Mom, don't worry. Inko. Okay, goodbye, and don't go too deep into the forest. Both. Yes. Then the mother left, leaving the symbiotic duo alone. Izuku. So, what are we going to do? Venom. The first thing we'll do is practice our skills, both yours and mine, so you can get used to it, understand? Izuku. Yes, excited. That's how they started. First they warmed up, then they practiced the symbiote's abilities, how to use the tentacles, how to cover various parts with the symbiote, until he said. Venom. Okay, now what you're going to do is let yourself go. Izuku. And exactly how do I do that? Venom. Clear your mind and relax, while I do the rest. Izuku. Okay, hesitantly, but obeyed. As he commanded, he relaxed in mind and body, only for a black mask to completely cover him, leaving the form of a 2-meter humanoid with a macabre smile. Venom. It worked, now I'm out. Izuku. Venom, what happened? Frightened. Venom. Relax, kid, I just took my true form, looking at his hands. Izuku. I'm scared, trembling. Venom. Feeling empathy, don't worry, look, opening his jaw until the child's head was exposed. Izuku. Wow, what is this? Surprised by its appearance. Venom. This is my true self, how does that feel? Izuku. I feel powerful, moving his arms, that nothing and no one and nothing will stop me. Venom. You mean no one will stop us? Izuku. We are invincible. Venom. You're right, we will be the best in the world no matter what it takes, you agree, kid? Izuku. Yes, transforming back, no matter what it takes. After a few minutes, the green-haired boy's mother arrived and told him about everything they had done, including the transformation. She was very happy that her son was able to fulfill his lifelong dream of helping people with a smile. Time skip. It was a Monday afternoon when we saw the boy with the symbiote walking calmly until he saw his best friend hitting another child. Venom. Don't even think about it. Izuku. Why? He's in trouble. Venom. Look, kid, in all the time I've been here I've learned one very important thing: weak people are always trampled by the strong. Izuku. But Venom, we are strong, desperately. Venom. Then prove it, prove that you're on top, maliciously. Izuku. I'll do it, serious. After that, he went to where they were beating the boy. Izuku. Kachan, stop right now. Bakugo. You don't give me orders, Deku. I'll retreat, or else we'll do the same, he said superiorly while his two henchmen stood behind him. Izuku. Kachan, please, if you don't stop, I'll never forgive you. Shouting. Kachan. Okay, you asked for it, attack. Shouting to his henchmen. One of them was close enough. Then Izuku transformed his arm to deliver a blow, followed by using his tentacles to attack the other, slamming him against the ground many times until blood came out of his nose, and Kachan watched all this in horror, before escaping. Izuku. I think you've learned your lesson. If I see you bothering anyone else in my territory, I'll hunt you down and dig your own graves, then kill you. Understand? Shouting. Both. Why yes, sorry, we won't do it again. Izuku. You better be out of my sight now. So the two of them ran off, while Venom watched, very pleased by the boy's actions. Izuku. Hey kid, are you okay? Boy. I have a bruise, but I'm fine thanks, what's your name? Izuku. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Well, I have to go, goodbye, he said as he walked away. Boy. I have to tell my friends. Years have passed since Venom bonded with Izuku, and things have changed. For example, at school, some people disliked him, others respected him, and as for the group of girls, well, you don't have to be a genius to know how they feel. Inko took him to have his quirk diagnosed so there wouldn't be any problems in the future. But now we see a bunch of kids waiting for the bell to ring so they can leave school and go home. Teacher. Okay, now I want you to tell me what you want to be when you grow up, throwing the papers. Who am I kidding? Everyone wants to be a hero, right? Everyone. Yes, Bakugo. Bah, don't compare me to these extras. Extra 1. Shut up, Midoriya can leave your ass like a yawn. Extra. It's true, he's millions of times better than you. Teacher. Silence. But Midoriya, you're going to UA, right? Izuku. If I plan to go. Bakugo. EHH. But just as the bell rang for dismissal, everyone went to their respective homes, including our favorite duo. They were taking the path under a bridge until Venom. Child, beware. When he said a monster made of mud, it was going to attack him, but Izuku reacted quickly and was able to dodge it. Villain. Good reflexes, you'll be a very good vessel. Venom. Oh no, bro, get your own. Izuku. Venom, I think I do need your help dodging the villain's grabs. Venom. It is, but it would be interrupted because a guy started screaming like a madman. All Might. Relax, kid, I'm here. Preparing his fist smash. A powerful gust of wind struck the villain of Barrow head on, causing him to explode and shatter into pieces. Izuku. Wow, All Might. Thank you so much. With a sparkle in his eyes. Venom. We were able to handle it. All Might. Young man, are you alright? With that crazy smile. Izuku. Yes sir, thank you very much. Bose. All Might. Hee, you're welcome. Will you help me clean the place? Izuku. Yes sir, but he notices smoke appearing behind him. Are you alright, Mr. All Might? All Might. Cough. Yes, but suddenly he vomits blood out of nowhere. Izuku. God. Holding him, but he transformed into his skinny version. Venom. Ha ha ha, look at how messed up he is. Izuku. Shut up, but what happened to you? So he began to explain that they had made him so heavy and now he couldn't spend much time in his muscular form, but as they were talking the pieces of mud moved, and then they went into the sewer. Venom. Izuku. Izuku. What's wrong? Venom. Look, pointing behind him, the remains were gone. So they both left. All Might was desperate as he ran away, but the freckled boy remained still. Venom. Izuku, are you okay? Worried. Izuku. We ruined it. Venom. Relax, that's the worst that could happen. Upon hearing that, a gigantic explosion could be seen in the distance, alarming them both. They then headed towards the source of the explosion, but what they saw was Bakugo trying to break free from the mud villain, though no hero could get close. Izuku. We have to help Venom, worried. Venom. So there's less competition, besides, why do you want to save him if he's always bothering us with that shitty nickname? I don't care if he dies. Izuku. What's wrong with you? If we want to be heroes, we have to save everyone, even those we don't like. Venom. Well, since I've been with you, I think I've become more like Brando. Izuku. Hee, okay, but there's a lot of fire. I'd better go alone. Okay, let's do it. Venom. Alright, it's good that it increases your abilities. He then ran away ignoring the hero's shouts. The exact same thing happened in the anime, except Izuku wasn't a crybaby. Now we see how the green-haired boy was walking calmly, until he asked. Izuku. Venom, why did you say you went soft? Venom. Simple, before you, I was a host to many people, but most were bad, thieves, murderers, rapists, and in the end, if I didn't do what they wanted, even when I didn't want to, they set me on fire. Izuku. I'm sorry Venom, I didn't know, sadly. Venom. Don't worry, but when I found you, everything was different. I even grew fond of you and Mom. Izuku. Wait a second, did you call her? Venom. Yeah, better shut up and forget it, embarrassed by what he said. While they were talking, All Might in his schoolgirl form appeared in front of them. All Might. Hello kid. Izuku. Oh, hello Mr. All Might, bowing again. Venom. You make us look bad. Izuku. Shut up, and why am I here? All Might. I came because I saw how you rushed in to save that young man over there. You reminded me of myself when I was young. Izuku. Oh, well, thanks, but is that all? Nervous. All Might. Hee, relax, the truth is I came to propose something to you. Izuku. And what is it? That's how he began to tell her about the One for All, which was passed down from generation to generation. All Might. So what do you say? You'll be the new wielder of One for All. Venom. Accept it, we could be the most powerful beings on the planet. Izuku. Okay, I accept. All Might. I'm glad you accepted it. Tomorrow we'll begin training so you can handle it properly. Understand? Izuku. Yes sir, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, I won't let you down. With stars in his eyes. All Might. Haha, I hope so. We'll meet at the beach tomorrow. Izuku. Okay, trying not to cry. Venom. Grim Reaper. Venom. Kid, with all of All Might's power fused with us, we'll be unstoppable. Happy and with his characteristic smile. Izuku. I'm so excited. I'm going to train with All Might. Venom. Sometimes you make me cringe. Izuku. Shut up, we're here. Hello All Might. All Might. Hello young Midoriya, I'm glad you were able to accept my offer. Izuku. Of course, it's an honor, with stars in his eyes. Venom. God of all boys, why the hell did you send me a freak? Izuku. Shut up, All Might. Young Midoriya, are you alright? Placing his hand on his shoulder. Izuku. Nervously, why yes, well, since you told me your secret, can I tell you mine? Playing with his fingers. All Might. Sure, but you still haven't told me about your quirk. With the same smile, but with a skinny body. Izuku. Well, it's about Venom. Leaving the body, for God's sake, you're so slow. Complaining. All Might. Young Midoriya, what is that? Izuku. Venom. Shouting at him. Venom. This is what happens to you for being slow, approaching his face. Izuku. Why do you always have to be so impulsive? Getting close to his face. All Might. Young man. But he is interrupted by Venom. Venom. And you always think but never act. Izuku. Because I think so. Hitting the symbiote face to face. All Might. Stop it. They both stopped fighting to look at an angry skinny guy. Izuku. Sorry, sir, bowing while standing. All Might. Okay, now tell me, what is that? Pointing at Venom. Izuku. Sighing, okay, he's Venom and he's a symbiote. Nervous about what he said. All Might. Okay. That's how he started telling him that he was an alien and bonded with him. All Might. Wow, surprised because it wasn't a quirk but a separate creature and you didn't tell anyone. Venom. No, only our mother knows. We went to the doctor, I pretended to use her quirk, and we were diagnosed with the gift of symbiosis. Izuku. We did it so that if anyone sees my medical file, they won't suspect anything. All Might. How clever. Okay, enough talk, let's get to work. Transform. Izuku. Yes sir. Excited. All Might. Hee, okay, what we'll do now is clean the beach. Venom. What? But what training will this be for? All Might. Simple young Venom. Look, a hero's duty is to combat any threat to society, and that includes helping society itself. Izuku. Okay, so, after 8 months of cleaning the whole place from being a garbage dump full of filth, it became a beautiful beach with a lovely landscape that allowed you to see the sunset. All Might. Very good, kid, and we also have a month to spare to train with One for All, scratching his head. Izuku. Thank you very much, Oromato, but how will we train with the OFA if you never gave it to me? With that doubt in his mind and with a finger on his chin. All Might. Simple young Midoriya picking at a hair on his head, eat it. Izuku. Venom. What? Venom. Wait, the most powerful quirk in the world just gives itself up like that, exalted by what he did. Izuku. Venom. Scolding him. All Might. Hee. Relax young ones, to deliver OFA you need the DNA working, so eat it. Izuku. Short, taking it out of his hand and swallowing it, it tastes like choripan. All Might. I've been on the grill lately, scratching the back of his neck, while those present had a drop of sweat on their faces. Izuku. What do I do now? I don't feel any different. Looking at his body to see if anything has changed. All Might. Don't worry, I'll help you use it properly. Time skip. Yes, I know, I'm helping myself. After 1 month of training, he can now access 10% of Venom's power, but if he uses Venom in his full form, he can control him to 90%. However, if he uses him beyond that, both of them could die. Izuku. How exhausting, and tomorrow is the entrance exam, lying on his bed. Venom. If not, hey, when we use the suits we'll transform into me. Izuku. I don't think so, he said seriously, remembering the last time he transformed. Venom. Oh come on, you're afraid it'll happen again. Annoyed. Flashback. We see a 9-year-old Izuku accompanied by his mother returning home from school, but some guys came behind and in front of the green-haired group. Choro 1. Hand everything over or there will be problems. Choro 2. Who was in front of them, do it pointing with his finger that instead of the full one there was a tube. Inko. Nervously, oh okay, just don't hurt my son. Hurriedly searching for her purse and wallet. Choro. Looking around to see if there was a hero or policeman. Cry 2. Quick, get out of here. Inko. Sorry, I can't find my wallet. She searched desperately until one of the thieves pushed her, making her fall. Choro. You took a long time trying to grab him but he wouldn't let go. All of this was seen by the green-haired boy, while he listened to Venom's voice. Venom. Quickie, let me out so we can kill them for touching your mother. Izuku. Yes, angrily. As he said that, the boy's body was covered by the black mass, transforming him into Venom, who then grabbed one of the criminals by the neck. Venom. What right do you have to do that to him? But the thug had the peculiarity of shooting from his fingers, but he didn't even flinch. You think that's not going to stop me? Saying that, he slammed him into the wall, knocking him out, but he saw the other one was leaving. Inko. Son, Venom, stop. Izuku obeyed, however, Venom got carried away by the moment. Venom. Where do you think you're going? Stopping him with his tentacles. Choro 1. Sorry, please have mercy. Venom. You know, the kid never let me eat, only animals are junk food, but taking advantage opening his mouth to fit it. Izuku. Venom, for us, we don't eat people. Inko. Crying please stop, don't do it. Upon hearing the mother's cries, Venom stood up, only to break her arm, to tell her. Venom. Listen carefully, if I see you near her again, pointing at Inko, I'll find you, we'll eat your arms, your legs, and finally your head, and you'll be a piece of shit on the ground, understand? Choro. Okay. Then he ran off. Findel flashback. Venom. Come on, don't tell me you didn't enjoy it as much as I did maliciously. Izuku. Well, a little, letting himself go, but focusing. I don't have an idea for how to use one for all while you help me. Venom. Okay, tell me, curious. Izuku. Do you remember when we watched Dragon Ball? Venom. Yes, but what does that have to do with anything? But he got into the broccoli's head and understood what he meant. Oh, I like your idea, let's put it into practice. We see our favorite protagonists heading towards the entrances of UA. Venom. Stop being nervous. If you continue with that attitude, it will hurt both of us. He said this mentally to Izuku, who was trembling uncontrollably. Izuku. I'm not nervous, I'm really excited. If we pass, we'll study at the same school as All Might. Walking along just fine until he slipped. Venom. Oh no, we're off to a bad start, huh? In the end he didn't feel the impact of the ground. What happened? Did you? Izuku. I didn't do anything, until he turned his gaze and saw a brown-haired girl with her palms together. Sorry for using my quirk on you, but it was bad luck if you fell in the first few days. He then deactivated his quirk to help the freckled boy up. Izuku. It's okay, and thank you. You're welcome, and by the way, what's your name? Izuku. My name is Izuku Midoriya, and yours? The girl asked him. Uraraka. My name is Ochako Uraraka, nice to meet you. Izuku. Likewise, but the exams are about to start. Looking at his watch. Uraraka. That's right, we need to hurry. That's how they started chasing us like crazy and we had to split up. Izuku did pretty well in the test, of course with a little help from Venom. But let's get to the most important thing. Now he was in a large room full of kids listening to the hero present mic. Until a certain blue-haired boy interrupted. Iida. Excuse me, but the brochure says there are 4 types of robots, and you only mentioned 3. That was very careless of you. Venom. God, that guy is so annoying. Hey Izuku, what are you thinking? Listening and observing everything he said. Izuku. I say the same, my friend, but he would be interrupted by the 4 eyes. Iida. Besides, I won't pay attention to what I'm explaining, addressing the freckled boy. If you're not going to take this seriously, it's best if you leave. Venom. Who does this insect think he is, talking to us like that? Izuku. Calm down. I was listening to everything. Besides, Mr. Mix was probably going to explain the fourth robot, and you interrupted him, you idiot. Present Mike. Okay, stop fighting and thank you. Like a mouth saying, seeing how Iida is getting embarrassed, the fourth one isn't worth it because it's not worth any points. Time skip. After Iida's explanation and lesson, all the candidates were now as if in a simulated city. Izuku. Hey, that's Uraraka, we should say hi. Looking at the brunette from afar. Venom. Okay, let's go. When they were just a few meters away, he stopped because a hand touched his shoulder. Izuku. He turned his head and saw the blue-haired boy again. Iida. You shouldn't bother her, can't you see she's concentrating? Izuku. Look, boss, roughly removing his hand from her shoulder, I wasn't going to bother her, I just wanted to say hi. Why don't you get a life and stop meddling in other people's business? Mike. Attention everyone, come closer, it's about to begin. That way, both boys would stop fighting and position themselves near the big door. Venom. Okay, when the gate opens, go as fast as you can, like that time Mom almost hit us with her slipper. Izuku. Okay Venom. So they proceeded to open it, and as Venom ordered, the green-haired boy ran out. Mike. In a hero's life, there's no quick countdown before they take away their points. That's how the test began. Izuku was doing well, thanks to the OFA he was using at 5%, and Venom's tentacles were already at about 60 points. Venom. Hey, why are you stopping? Izuku. The thing is, I don't want to take points away from anyone. Venom. Annoyed, stop talking nonsense, we have to be the best no matter what. Izuku. I know, you've been telling me that since we met, but look, as if one wasn't enough. All of this was observed by a group of heroes. Nezu. What do you think? Cementos. The ones who best control their quirks are the one with the explosions pointing at a screen and that boy who has 2 quirks. Aizawa. Yes, but there's something strange about it. Looking disinterested. All Might. What do you mean? The skinny guy asked. Aizawa. Look at his face, everyone looking at the screen where the freckled boy appeared, don't you notice that his expression is changing and no one has touched him? Nezu. Yes, I noticed. Do you think he might be bipolar? Aizawa. Maybe I'll check his medical records later. Nezu. Okay, you can also see the names of their quirks. Changing the subject, I think it's time. Presses a button. Back to the village. Izuku. That's enough, period. But he was interrupted by a loud crash that shook the area. I have a very bad feeling. Extra 1. Run, it's 0 points. Passing past the green-haired guy. Extra 2. Run, bitches, run. Izuku. It's not worth it, let's go. Uraraka. Help. She was stuck under rubble and screaming like crazy as the giant approached. Izuku. Oh no, Venom, I'll need help when I say okay. Venom. Okay. They headed towards the cake-shaped face, only to lift the piece of concrete that had it immobilized. Izuku. Quick, get up. Offering his hand. Uraraka. I can't walk, I hurt my leg. Then I pick her up and carry her princess style, causing embarrassment and a small blush that wasn't noticeable. Thank you. Izuku. Running, you're welcome, leaving her in a safe place, I'll be right back, okay. Uraraka. Okay, please take care of yourself. Izuku. Okay. Thus the green-haired man activated the OFA, took a huge leap, and with the arm that was going to strike, he was covered by Venom's black mass. In the end, he ripped off his head with one blow, however, they were falling. Izuku. Hey Venom, do you have an idea? Falling. Venom. No, but don't worry, I'll regenerate you later. Izuku. Damn, this is going to hurt. But suddenly he felt a blow to his cheek and began to float. Uraraka. Uraraka. She didn't say anything, she just started vomiting a rainbow while deactivating her quirk. Izuku. Thanks, now I owe you too. She stopped vomiting. Uraraka. No problem, but you saved me, thank you so much. Izuku. Okay, but your leg still hurts. Pointing at his wound. Uraraka. Yes, very much, but Izuku's hand touched her leg, causing her to blush intensely. What are you doing? Izuku. Relax, I'm just going to heal you. Do it, Venom. As you wish, covering the wound with the black mass. Uraraka. It doesn't hurt anymore, seeing that Venom was leaving and she had no bruises or wounds, thank you so much. She then hugged him. Izuku. Why you're welcome, also blushing. Time skip. Now we find ourselves in the freckled boy's bed, processing what he experienced and what he felt with the brunette. Venom. Hey, you still feel weird. Coming out of Izuku. Izuku. Yeah, still, but it's not because I'm into a girl, I'm over that. But it felt really weird, but also good. Maybe I'll ask mom about it. Venom. Maybe. Hey, while we were falling I had an idea, so that it doesn't happen again. Izuku. Sounds good, we have a whole week to do that. Venom. Okay, but I need something first. Izuku. And what would that be? Venom. I need a spider. A week has passed since the events of the test, and Venom also put his new technique to the test by eating a spider. He developed abilities from it, such as shooting webs or climbing walls, but there's a drawback. When he's fully bonded with the symbiote, only those abilities can be activated. Then Izuku combined his idea of controlling one for all with Venom's, and together they created something masterful. One Monday morning, the birds were singing, the sun was shining, and a symbiote was playing League of Legends. Venom. Take this, you fucking bastards. You can't do anything against Mordekaiser. Looking at his watch, damn it, Izuku, get up quickly. Today is the first day of school. Izuku. Opening his eyes slowly, yes, calm down, I'm already up. Are you excited for this day? Venom. I've been through much better things than going to school. Izuku. Come on, don't be like that, it'll be fun. Venom. Well, as long as Bakugo and that nerd aren't around, everything will be fine. Izuku. Let's wait and see, but now let's eat and get dressed. Afterwards, they dressed in their academy uniforms, said goodbye to their mother, and went straight to Ua. Izuku. Okay, now we have to find room 1A. He said this while walking and looking for the sign that said 1A. Venom. There it is, making him look in his direction. Izuku. Thanks Venom. Heading towards the hall until they stopped at the giant door. They must be for people with enlargement quirks, what do you think? Venom. I think they didn't want to save money and put this in. Izuku. I think you're right. He then opened it and the first thing he noticed was an ash blonde fighting with a blue-haired boy. Iida. Taking your feet off the table is an insult to everyone sitting here. Bakugo. Shut up, you damn extra. Who do you think you are? Shouting. Iida. I am Iida Tenya, making robotic movements. Bakugo. It'll be fun to crush you arrogantly. Venom. Perfect, just what we needed, angrily. Izuku. Calm down, Venom, but he would feel someone touch his back. Venom, was that you? Venom. Turn around, he obeyed and what he saw was the brunette. Good, you better not get nervous. Uraraka. Hi Izuku, it's nice that we're in the same class, don't you think? With each word she said, she got closer to the green-haired boy. Izuku. Why yes, Venom help, pleading with his friend. Venom. No, fix it yourself. Aizawa. Getting up from the floor. If you're going to be friends, you shouldn't have come. Now everyone take a seat. Everyone took their seats in their respective places, except Uraraka quickly took the seat behind Midoriya. Venom. Perfect. This girl looks like she's going to get us into bed, and our teacher must be on drugs. Izuku. God, the things you say, but I also noticed that the brunette was staring at him blatantly. I think you're right. Aizawa. Okay, my name is Aizawa Shota, and I'll be your teacher for the 3 years you're here. Now go change and then head to the training field. Understood. Everyone nodded and left. Time skip. Everyone was already in the schoolyard dressed in their physical education uniforms. Aizawa. Okay, now you're going to do some tests with your quirks to evaluate your performance. Everyone was excited until a cuckold spoke out of turn. Mina. This will be fun. Aizawa. So, how fun, huh? What do you think? The last one to get the worst grade will be expelled. Everyone. What? Well, after that they proceeded to do the exercises, until they reached the last one. Aizawa. Everyone did well, but there's one more thing. Now you'll have to throw the ball without moving from your spot. And Midoriya Izuku will go first. Izuku. Okay, Venom, we'll only use 10%. Venom. How boring, but oh well. Aizawa. Here, giving him the ball, tell me what was the maximum you could do without your quirk. Izuku. About 80 meters away. Aizawa. Alright, now throw. Then Midoriya's arm was covered by Venom and with OFA, he launched it but. Aizawa. 450 meters with his eyes red, how strange, he didn't deactivate his other quirk. Venom. What happened? Why didn't you activate it? Izuku. I think our teacher erased it, and I think it's Eraserhead. Venom. He erases quirks. Then, using his bandages, he pulled the boy towards him. Aizawa. Your record says you awakened your second quirk last year, and now I see your intentions. You wanted to impress everyone here by showing off that you were the best. Serious. Venom. Who does he think he is to talk to us like that? Izuku. Relax, Venom, maybe he's just trying to motivate us. Nervously. Aizawa. Besides, if you used your new quirk, you could also put yourself at risk, and how will you save people if you don't protect yourself? Deactivating his quirk. Okay, you can use your quirk now. You'll have another chance. Izuku. Entendido. Saying that again, Venom covered the freckled man's arm, the difference being that OFA would now be activated. Izuku. Smash. The ball flew off like a missile, but it didn't stop there. It continued to create a smokescreen, leaving everyone in shock, until it lost momentum and fell outside the academy. Aizawa. He was stunned by the power of the ball, until he saw the counter and it read 1,600 meters. At that point, everyone stared blankly at the green-haired boy who was perfectly fine. But what they didn't know was that his arm had broken, and during the pain, Venom was regenerating it. Bakugo. Damn Deku, how dare you be better than me? About to hit him but would be stopped by Aizawa's bandages. Aizawa. You and I will have a serious talk. Taking him to the principal's office. Everyone approached the green-haired boy to ask him what happened to the professor. Others simply congratulated him on what he did. Venom. Haha, well now everyone knows that we're number one in this place. We are now in class 1A. Some were talking, playing, or sleeping, but suddenly. All Might. I'm entering normally. Everyone. All Might. Impressed except for one. Venom. That's pretty stupid, but he would get scolded by Izuku. All Might. Hello everyone. Today I will be your teacher for the day and today we are going to do hero training, but first put on your costumes and go to the Gamma training room. Everyone. If All Might. Time skip. Everyone already had their respective hero costume, including Midoriya, whose was very different from the rest and consisted of a plain black suit with a large spider on the chest. Uraraka. Wow Izuku, I like your outfit, but don't you think it'll break easily? Looking closely at his clothing. Izuku. No, even though it doesn't look like it, it's very resistant, hitting his chest. Uraraka. Haha, and what do you think of mine? Izuku. Why you look very pretty. Uraraka, nervous and mesmerized by her appearance until Venom spoke. Venom. Hey kid, snap out of it, you're embarrassing us, speaking to him. Izuku. Sorry, but I couldn't help it. She's very. Uraraka. Izuku, are you feeling alright? Getting closer to him. You must have a fever. Touching his forehead, making the boy jump. Izuku. Sorry, I was thinking about something and my mind went blank. Scratching the back of his neck in embarrassment. All Might. Okay, young heroes, gather together. I'm going to choose partners for the next exercise. Iida. And what is it? Raising his hand. All Might. It's about teamwork. On one side, you have the heroes who will have the mission of defusing a bomb. On the other, the villains will defend that bomb to a certain extent. Okay, now that everything's clear, let's begin. Thus began the selection of groups, all the same as in the anime. Now we will focus on the duo of Izuku and Uraraka, where she was looking at the building plans, while the boy was mentally communicating with the symbiote. Izuku. Okay, let's go over phase 1 of the symbiote suit again. We can withstand 25% of OFA, and in this form, we're faster. Also, from this phase until the final one, we can access the abilities of the spider U8. looking at his hands, which were covered by the symbiote. Venom. Yes, but the bad thing is that I don't have control of your body unless you're unconscious or you let me. Izuku. It's a disadvantage for you, plus you're blunt and you could exaggerate quite a bit. Uraraka. Hey Izuku, are you okay? You didn't say anything 5 minutes ago. Worried about his attitude. Izuku. I'm sorry, it's just nerves. Uraraka. Relax, to be honest, I'm nervous too he. All Might. Alright heroes, you may enter now. Speaking from a microphone in the monitoring room. Izuku. Okay, let's do our best, raising his fist and getting quite close to the brunette, making her blush. Uraraka. Why yes, let's go, calming her nerves. They proceeded to climb the wall. Thanks to the ability he obtained from the spider, he was able to stick to the wall like one, and taking advantage of this, Uraraka possessively hugged Izuku. Uraraka. Wow, he's really strong, he can carry me and climb at the same time, touching his abs. Izuku. Haha, you're tickling me, reacting to the girl's caresses. Uraraka. Sorry, I just wanted to hold on tight, lying to avoid embarrassment. Venom. Yes, and it's broken. After entering through the first window they found, they walked down an entire corridor until our green-haired friend felt a tickle in his head. Izuku. Hey Venom, what's going on? Alarmed. Venom. Agachate. As she said that, explosions could gradually be heard coming from deep within the corridors. Finally, Bakugo appeared, about to attack them, but thanks to his newfound senses, he was able to dodge and secure Uraraka to safety. Izuku. Are you okay? Letting go of her. Uraraka. Yes, thank you very much. After that, without warning, Bakugo attacked again, but thanks to the agility of Phase 1, he was able to dodge the explosions. However, the heat produced during the fight affected the symbiote a little. Izuku. That's enough. He jumped, creating distance, then put his hands in front of him and webbing came out of the top of his wrist. Bakugo. He couldn't react because the spider web was covering his palms. Uraraka. Good job, Izuku, praising the green-haired boy. Bakugo. TCH, this isn't over yet. He removes the webbing and releases the safety on his grenade glove, causing a huge explosion. Izuku. Uraraka. As he said that, he covered her with his body to receive the full impact. Monitoring room. Everyone was scared by what happened, until they felt the tremor from the shockwave of the explosion. Suyu. Don't you think they should stop now? Asking the tall blonde man. All Might. In the life of a hero, one must fight even when the odds are low. Everyone was still scared until they saw what was on the screen. Back with Midoriya. Uraraka. Izuku, are you okay? Trying to help him. Izuku. Why yes, just give me a moment, breathing heavily. His suit had a huge hole in the back. He tried to get up but the cracking of his spine was heard. Uraraka. Don't get up, calm down. Settling him on the floor. Why did you risk it like that? Eyes welling up with tears. Izuku. A hero must always save the lives of others even when their own is in danger. Venom. I think it's time for Phase 2. Venom. Alright, but first I need to regenerate your spine. Uraraka. How dare you? Looking at the blonde boy, you almost killed him, aren't you even ashamed of that? Bakugo. Shut up, round face. He's a useless piece of shit, he couldn't even handle this, he's just a... However, they both stopped arguing because they heard bones cracking, then turned around and saw the green-haired boy standing there. Izuku. You almost hurt her and then you talk to her like that. Angry, now look what you deserve. Phase 2. As he said that, he was again covered by the black mass, and as soon as the transformation was complete, noticeable changes could be seen in the freckled boy's suit. He had shoulder pads and bracelets with spikes, his chest plate now resembled that of a SWAT officer, and most notably, the spider on his head had grown. Venom. Now with this phase we control OFA at 50% and it's more resistant, but not as fast as the other one. Now it's time to go beat the shit out of him, with malice in the last part. Izuku. I agree with you. He then activated OFA as much as he could and in a flash, Bakugo was sent flying a few centimeters away by an uppercut and brought back to the ground by a hammer blow, leaving him unconscious. What did you think of that, huh? But he would feel something on his back. Uraraka, Uraraka. Sniff, you made me so worried, you idiot. Hugging him even tighter from behind. Promise me you'll never risk yourself like that again. Izuku. I promise, and I'm sorry for making you cry. Nervous and blushing, although it wasn't noticeable because of the mask. Uraraka. Okay, now we have to find the bomb. She stops hugging him. Then they ran to the second floor where the bomb was located, guarded by Iida. Izuku distracted the blue-haired boy while Uraraka touched the bomb. Izuku. Alright Uraraka, hugging her and spinning her around until she realized, oops, sorry, I get excited easily and let myself go. Uraraka. Don't worry, blushing. All Might. Well done, heroes. You win. Now, could you please take young Bakugo to the infirmary? Izuku. Okay, you go with the others and I'll take him to get healed, after all, I knocked him out. Uraraka. Okay, time skip. Then things went just like in the anime, with Momo criticizing the green-haired boy, which really angered Venom, and on top of that, he was about to leave if it weren't for the green-haired boy's intervention. In the end, Bakugo stayed in bed for the entire class, and now it was time to leave. Izuku. What a day, isn't it, Venom? Asking his symbiote friend. Venom. Yeah, but I'm still annoyed with that Yaoyorozu, she makes my blood boil. Izuku. Don't worry, I'll make it up to you later with what you like most. Venom. Well, but in the fight against Kachan I noticed something strange when he used OFA. Izuku. What? Worried that his symbiote friend might get hurt. Venom. I'll tell you later, for now look behind you, looking at the brunette again. Uraraka. Izuku, wait for me. Running to catch up with him. Izuku. Oh, hi Uraraka, what's up? Uraraka. Nothing, I just wanted to walk you to the station. Izuku. Oh, okay. So they started talking and began to get to know each other much better than before, realizing they had much more in common. Then they arrived at the station, and in the distance, Uraraka recognized the train that would take her home. Uraraka. Well, there's the train. It's been great today. She suddenly approached him, stood on her tiptoes, and kissed his cheek. That's for saving me. Looking at the ground and swinging her legs from side to side. Venom. Wow, Izuku, what a handsome guy. Surprised and happy. Uraraka. Well, see you tomorrow. As she said that, the train arrived, opening its doors, and a brunette ran as fast as she could to avoid getting even more nervous than she already was, leaving a green-haired boy stunned. Venom. I once told you I'm proud of you, but he didn't answer. You're there. Still no answer. Okay. We've lost him, I'll have to navigate myself. Now we see two green-haired people eating peacefully, until Venom came out to say. Venom. Hey kid, you said you'd feed me, getting the mother's attention. Inko. What happened this time? Did you two have a fight? Stops eating. Izuku. Venom. We never fought. Looking at her. Inko. Aha, I know you very well, tell me what happened. Taking a glass of water. Venom. Izuku froze because a girl from school kissed him. Inko. Spitting water in their faces. What? Izuku. Mom, it's not what you think, it was just on the cheek and. But he received a hug from the older woman who was crying her eyes out. Inko. My baby already has a girlfriend. Still hugging him, and this is being observed by Venom who was embarrassed but it was cute. Izuku. And no, she's not my girlfriend, we're just friends. Blushing the color of Mars. Venom. Well, it's not that big of a deal, and when are you going to feed me? Exclaiming the symbiote. Inko. Don't worry, I always have some in reserve. Taking an alfajor out of a drawer. Here you go. Venom. Thank you very much, Ma. I mean Inko. Looking down. Inko. Hee, you can call me Mom if you want. Venom. TCH, only because you asked me. Eating the alfajor. Mom. After that, Izuku was about to go to bed when he remembered he had something to tell Venom. Izuku. Venom, you had something to tell me, didn't you? Venom. That's right. Emerging from the body, forming his head. Apparently, when you used OFA and were using phase 2 of the suit, I felt tired confusing the boy. Izuku. But why, if you don't use it? Leaving the freckled boy thoughtful. Venom. Remember that we're connected, and when you use it more than the percentage it allows, that's when I intervene. Izuku. Right, and then you make an effort so that I don't get injured when I use OFA. Venom. Exactly, but don't worry, I'll get used to it, of course, if you don't use it for too long or use it all at once. Izuku. Okay, don't worry, I'll never do anything to hurt you. Venom. Thank you, and go to sleep now. Time skip. The next day, our duo were on a bus with their classmates, heading to the UA training facilities. However, one of their classmates asked the following question. Tsuyu. Midoriya. Looking at the freckled boy who had the Venom suit phase. Izuku F1. What's wrong Asui? Staring at her. Me. Okay, to clarify and avoid confusion, every time Izuku uses a new phase one will put the corresponding number. For example, if his suit were like Agent Venom's, the dialogue would show Izuku F2. Tsuyu. Tell me Tsuyu, but how does your quirk work? Leaving a green-haired boy confused. Izuku F1. I don't understand. Tsuyu. I mean, your quirk is very similar to All Might's when you hit or use it. Kirishima. But remember, he also needs his other quirk to use it. Looking at the freckled boy, isn't that right, Midoriya? Izuku. I can use something like that myself, but... Momo. But you have to use your other quirk to stabilize yourself, right? Entering the conversation. Izuku F1. Yes, and by the way, my quirk is called symbiosis. It's about being able to control this black mass. Look, phase 2, transforming and surprising everyone, do you see it? Momo. Incredible, and sorry for scolding you yesterday, embarrassed. Izuku F2. Don't worry, what? All his classmates were still amazed at what he did with his suit, until a redhead spoke up. Kirishima. To do that, you have to say phase 1 and 2. Izuku F2. Scratching his head, hehe. It's kind of like it has a life of its own. Tokiyami. At least you don't always have to argue with your quirk, showing dark shadow. Izuku. Yeah, that's a big relief, hehe, still scratching his head. Venom. I feel offended. Aizawa. Okay everyone get out, we've arrived. So everyone obeyed and went downstairs, and when they did, they were speechless at the enormous building that stood next to a hero who looked like an astronaut. -13. Good afternoon young students, I will be in charge of this class, my name is number 13. Uraraka. I can't believe it. Izuku is 13, shaking Izuku from side to side. Izuku F1. I noticed, but could you please stop shaking me? Uraraka. Realizing sorry Izuku, it's because of the excitement. Nervous and trying to hide her blush. Izuku F1. It's okay, well, let's go in. Pointing at the group that was leaving. Uraraka. Yes, running. When they entered, the first thing they saw was their frozen companions and a portal opening. Izuku. What's wrong, guys? Worried because several people were leaving. Denki. Look, there are villains here, don't you realize? Grabbing his head and pointing towards the villains. Izuku. Screw me, opening the 2 white holes in his mask. Venom. Finally, some action. I guess you'll have to let me go after all, he. He said the last part maliciously. -13. Aizawa, we have to go now. He and everyone else left, but suddenly a black fog appeared, saying. Kurogiri. Hello, we are the League of Villains and we've come to kill All Might. Everyone. Kill All Might. Venom. What a shitty name. We're in the same situation as in the anime. Aizawa and 13 others tried to evacuate the school. However, the black fog known as Kurogiri teleported almost all the students, scattering them across different natural disaster scenarios. But we'll focus on the 3 boys who were on a boat. Izuku F1. Guys, are you okay? Helping Tsuyu and Mineta. Tsuyu. Yes, but where are we? Standing up and looking around, it seems we're in the aquatic zone. Izuku. You don't say, sarcastically, but he realized what he thought, but why would they put you here, if your powers consist of a frog? Tsuyu. Maybe they don't know what quirks we have. Izuku. That would give us the element of surprise. Venom. What do you think? Venom. I say let me do all the work. Izuku F1. Venom, we already talked about this as a last resort. Looking at his friends besides, I don't want to show him that side of me. Venom. Come on, don't be like that. You also enjoyed whether I transformed or not. With malice in his words and flooding memories in the green-haired boy's head. Tsuyu. Midoriya, are you feeling alright? Approaching him. Izuku F1. Interrupting the conversation with his friend, sorry Tsuyu, I was thinking. Tsuyu. What were you thinking, Midoriya? Izuku F1. Well, thinking of an excuse how do I defeat the giant guy who's with the rest of the villains. Tsuyu. But Midoriya, there are so many of them, and I don't think you can defeat that monster. Worried. Izuku F1. Relax, everything is planned. Remember when I told you about my phases? Both boys just nodded. Well, in total I have 4 phases, showing with his fingers. Mineta. And why don't you use everything now? Crying and yelling at the green-haired boy. Izuku F1. If I use all my power, I could lose control and get seriously injured, even die. Leaving everyone in shock, but suddenly some villains entered the boat. They reacted instantly, leaving Mineta terrified. Then Tsuyu and Izuku decided to fight. The frog ensnared them with its tongue, slammed them to the ground, and threw them into the water. Meanwhile, the freckled boy was throwing gusts of wind or webbing at his opponents. One ran towards him, about to charge, but he leapt high above the villain. While airborne, he shot his webbing, anchored it, and began to ensnare him like a real spider. So, leaving everything covered and knocking him out, leaving the row of bodies there. Izuku F1. Is everyone alright? Checking on his friends. Tsuyu. Don't worry, I'm fine, but how did you do that? Impressed. Izuku F1. Well, that was for practice, but we need to get out of here as soon as possible. They both nodded. Okay, Phase 2. Now taking on the appearance of Agent Venom. Mineta. Why did you transform? Izuku F2. I need more power to jump and reach the entrance, now get on my back. They obeyed. Mineta used his quirk and stuck to his paw while Tsuyu leaned on his back, ready. Both. Yes. When Izuku heard it, he activated the OFA in his feet, and after that, a great crash was heard due to the jump he made. To orient himself, he also launched spider webs until he reached the entrance. Izuku F2. We're almost there, but Tsuyu, please could you stop squeezing me so hard? Almost suffocating from Kermit's cousin. Tsuyu. No, just like that, as if it weren't out of this world. Izuku F2. Sighing, we're here, getting off the plane, guys. Attracting the attention of his companions while Tsuyu was still in Yoda's position. Uraraka. Izuku, where were you? You're hurt. Looking him over closely until she sees Tsuyu. Why is she on your back? Slightly annoyed by the contact between the two of them. Izuku F2. I don't know, shrugging in disinterest, but when he saw Uraraka with a dark aura, Tsuyu, get down. Tsuyu. No, your suit has a strange texture but it's very comfortable, clinging to it tighter. Venom. Wow, I like this one. Izuku F2. Okay, leaving Tsuyu, where is Professor Aizawa and what happened to 13? Running towards where he was lying. Uraraka. A villain attacked him from behind, that's why he's like this. Changing from one attitude to another. Izuku. What are you doing? Izuku F2. Well, what do you think? Healing. Carefully touching the hero's back, the black mass appeared. Zero. Wow, how many skills do you have with that black thing? Approaching the green-haired boy in amazement. Izuku F2. Quite a lot, my dear friend, quite a lot. Venom, how is Professor 13? Venom. Don't worry, he won't die, but he'll need guidance. Izuku. Thanks, almost there, ready. Snapping his fingers. 13, are you okay? Can you walk? -13. Waking up and seeing all the students from class around him. What happened? Denki. A villain attacked him, but Midoriya was able to heal you. Pointing at the freckled boy. -13. Thank you very much, but how did you get back? Asked the astronaut-like man. Izuku F2. Thanks to my 2 quirks, along with Mineta and Tsuyu, we were able to arrive without any injuries, showing the direction from where he came. -13. I understand, and you didn't see any of your classmates. Concerned about everyone's well-being, especially those who were absent. Izuku F2. There weren't just 3 of us, and it all happened so fast. Seeing how badly injured Aizawa was, I have to help Professor Aizawa. Uraraka. Trying to stop him. Wait, Izuku, don't go. Izuku F2. There's no time. Activating OFA, and in the blink of an eye he was gone. In the plaza, Aizawa was able to defeat all the villains. However, he couldn't defeat Tamura, and even less so the Nomu. The latter was about to deliver the final blow, but suddenly a wave of air sent the Nomu flying a couple of meters, and in an instant, Aizawa was at the entrance. Tamura. Well, so All Might finally arrived. You're a little late, don't you think? Looking at the smoke screen, but his victorious smile would fall as he saw the wrong person. Izuku F2. Nope, I'm not All Might, but when I grow up I plan to be the symbol of peace. Approaching the monster. Tamura. You seriously think you can defeat my Nomu? It's designed to kill All Might. Angry because his illusion was shattered, but that wasn't all, he also started laughing. Izuku F2. Ha 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 ha. Wait, seriously, let me laugh even louder. Ha ha ha. Tamura. Frantically scratching his neck. Why are you laughing if you're going to die in a few seconds? But the delay of the symbol of peace. Izuku F2. 1. Nobody can defeat All Might, and 2. He's never met anyone like me before. Tamura. So you're very confident, huh? Kill them, Nomu, let's make an example of them. The monster simply obeyed. Izuku F2. Okay, my turn. Phase 3. Shouting as he saw that the black mass was more intense than usual and was covered by it again. When it ended, he had a new appearance, half twice the size of normal. He had claws instead of hands and he wore a metal helmet. Venom. Okay, with this phase 1 can have a little control. We can use OFA at 75%, create weapons from our hands, but our speed is reduced and compensated for by brute force. Izuku F3. I think we'll need more strength now. Dodging the Nomu's blows, he managed to counterattack by grabbing one of its arms and activating OFA, delivering a devastating blow to its jaw. However, he recovered as if nothing had happened. Izuku F3. Well, you're tougher than you look. Let's try something else. Creating a knife in his hand. Again the Nomu lunged at him, but Izuku used 60% of OFA to stab it multiple times until he got it in the shoulder and kept trying to separate his arm from it. He was able to do it, however it regenerated and continued the fight. Their speed, strength, and regenerative factor made it difficult for the duo, who were using everything they had. Venom. Izuku, let me take control. If we fight one beast, you need to release the other. Izuku F3. Don't say that, I still have a plan, just resist OFA a little longer, dodging and counter-attacking his opponent's blows. Taking advantage of an opening, he shot his web at its face, distracting it briefly to create some distance. The Nomu removed it and, seeing Izuku, lunged forward. Using One for All, he positioned himself behind the monster, placed a foot on its back to propel himself forward, and grabbed a part of its brain, causing several parts to fracture. Tamura, who was seeing everything that was happening. Damn, I have to do something or my master will get angry. Then the villain with the hand climbed Izuku's giant body just to grab his head. Izuku F3. Get off. Trying to get it off him, but the Nomu got up, disoriented, still with the same objective. Tamura. You can't defeat the League of Villains alone, creating several fractures in his head. All of this was also seen by one other person, and that was Uraraka, who was the only one inside because everyone else had evacuated, and she wanted to see Izuku in action. Uraraka. Come on Izuku, you can do it. Encouraging him, and it was noticed by Tamura. Tamura. Wow, she's your girlfriend. It would be a shame if something happened to her, wouldn't it? That was the last straw. Both his mind and his mask were changed. Izuku Venom F3. You won't touch a hair on his head. Saying this with a mouth full of fangs, finally grabbing him and throwing him against a wall. Kurogiri. Tamura, we have to go. Your condition and the Nomus are not optimal for this mission. He then creates a portal and takes him far away. Izuku Venom. And you fall dead. Hitting him with all of OFA, knocking him down. Die, die, die. Beating him mercilessly until his brain and face were deformable, he could no longer move but he still punched him. Uraraka. Izuku, stop, you've already won, you saved him and everyone else, there's no need to continue. Izuku Venom. Sighing, I'm sorry, missing the brunette because of her voice and returning to his base form. Uraraka. Relax, it's not your fault, the situation forced you, we have to go now. Putting her hand on the shoulder of a kneeling freckled boy. Izuku F1. Okay, Venom, what happened to me? Venom. You got carried away by the emotion, but admit it, you liked how you slowly deformed that monster, he. Izuku. That's not true, I just need to calm my mind, hey Venom. Venom. What, Izuku? Would you like something to eat later, ma'am? Venom. Okay, but we need to rest first. Using 75% is a bit more tiring, and he would have beaten us. Friday. 5:45. The entire Class A was packing up their things until Aizawa told them the upcoming news. Aizawa. Alright guys, as you know, the sports festival is next week. Everyone. Yes, celebrating. Aizawa. I'm not finished yet, with red eyes from the drugs he took or while using his quirk. Well, first of all, you can go if you want, and this will be the perfect opportunity to show off your abilities, understood? Everyone. Yes, teacher. Time skip. After that, not much happened. Izuku was training alone with One for All because he didn't want to depend too much on Venom, but Venom would soon realize it. Venom. Izuku, why are you trying so hard? You only need me. He said this while forming his head. Izuku. Just in case, and see if we're ever in trouble and you're not there worried about it. Venom. Don't feel bad, kid. Remember, we'll always be with you. Izuku. Thanks Venom, but you want something in return, right? Venom. Yes, removing the motivational atmosphere, I want you to release me when it's time to fight. Izuku. I don't know, remember you're very impulsive and I don't want them to see me as a monster. Imagining the rejection of all his classmates. Venom. Hey, remember when we met? We said we'd be the best, no matter what. Manipulating his head. Izuku. Yes, we said it, but I don't know, hesitating about Venom's proposal. Venom. Hey, but remember this, everyone will see us go into action, and we have to make Mom and All Might proud, right? Izuku. I think you're right, but I'm still not entirely sure. Venom. Well, how about you just let me take over as a last resort? Sounds good, kid, trying to convince him to take control. Izuku. Maybe, okay, let's do it. Time skip. On Monday afternoon, all the students from all grades were already at the stadium where the entire sports festival was taking place. Venom. Hey, nervous kid. Trying to calm his host. Izuku. A little, getting dressed in his PE uniform until he felt a touch on his shoulder. Todoroki. Midoriya, I declare war on you. We are now rivals. He then leaves the locker room. Kaminari. Hey Izuku, what happened? The fake Pikachu asked naively. Izuku. I think we're rivals now. He said it confused, but his intentions were already clear. Venom. Well, kid, we'll have to try harder if we want to beat Todoroki. He said this to convince him even more. Izuku. You're right, Venom, we have to give it our all, and that includes giving you control if I have to. I will, for Mom, for All Might, and we'll be number one. No matter what it takes. Whispering so softly the sound was almost imperceptible, but two people heard. Venom. He, now we're on the same page, he was saying it with malice in his words. After that, everyone left in groups with their respective classes. Standing in the middle of the stadium, you could see the various groups that made up UA, Class B, the support class, the economics class, and the regular class. It didn't matter what specialization you were in. Now, all that mattered was who would win. Now we see how all the UA classes were standing in the stadium waiting for the event's presenter. Uraraka. You're excited, Izuku. Raising and lowering her hands with excitement no matter what it takes, right? Izuku. He was confused because he never told him. Uraraka. I heard you in the hallways, and I agree, we have to give it our all, giving him a smile that made the green-haired boy blush. Izuku. Why yes, you're right. After that, the heroine Midnight arrived and explained the first elimination round, which consisted of an obstacle course around the stadium. Then all the UA students headed to the track. Izuku. Venom, I think I can do this on my own. Confident. Venom. Why, He took this very badly. Izuku. We're only going to run with 10% of one for all, we'd win if we didn't. Venom. But Izuku, let's make it clear to these guys that we're number one, and that means posting it, humiliating them, and taking the glory. Trying to convince him. Izuku. Venom, relax, it's just a friendly competition and there's no need to tire yourself out, because there's still a long way to go and we've only just begun. Reasoning with the symbiote. Venom. Okay, fine, but when you need help, let me know, okay? Izuku. Yes, but I don't think I'll need it. Midnight. Alright guys, let's go. Giving approval that they could now run. Upon hearing that, everyone ran like mad. The first to leave were Katsuki, Todoroki, Momo, and finally Izuku, who was only using 10%. However, out of nowhere, a bunch of 0-point robots appeared in their path. Venom. You can tell they have the money to make more of this crap. Izuku. I'm telling you the truth, yes. For our green-haired friend, there was no problem. He took a great leap and knocked down a robot with one blow, but when he was about to touch the ground, he slipped because the floor turned to ice. Izuku. Slowly getting up, he's not even answering me and was caught by the rest of his classmates including Bakugo who gave him the middle finger, shit. The green-haired boy destroyed the ice with a single punch and continued running, all while Present Mike and Aizawa were commentating on the situation. Present Mike. Wow, things have really heated up. Now Izuku Midoriya is in last place because of a careless mistake. What do you think, Aizawa? Sometimes it's like that, but in the end he always manages, watching the green-haired boy start running again. Back with Izuku. As the drug addict said, Izuku got back up and used one for all to regain the lead. However, Bakugo didn't take it lightly. He decided to charge at the freckled boy, but thanks to Venom, he used his tentacles to grab his arm and throw him aside. Bakugo. Damn Deku, you'll never be better than me. Getting up again and going after the green-haired boy. Izuku. Already fed up with him always being called that nickname, don't call me that. Stopping and throwing a punch, surprising those present because they knew him as a quiet boy. What have I done? Venom. Hey kid, he deserved it. I was fed up with Shine and Deku. Izuku. I think, you're right. He said it in a confused and uncertain tone. Then he regained his senses. In the distance, he saw a large cliff, and in the middle was a rope, which was the only way to cross. Izuku then decided to use one for all again. Todoroki created a bridge made of ice, allowing the rest of the competitors to cross. Present Mike. Okay, we're almost at the finish line, now for the last obstacle. The minefield. Upon hearing that, Izuku stopped abruptly, about to touch a mine. Izuku. Venom, I need help, but not the transformation. Clarifying things. Venom. GCH, fine, reluctantly agreeing. Then, using the tentacles that sprouted from his back, he walked with greater confidence. However, when he was halfway there, Todoroki launched a blast of ice, causing him to fall and triggering a mine. While he froze the mines with his ice, the mixed-haired boy. Izuku. Damn Todoroki exploding the monkey in his face, but thanks to that he takes the opportunity to get out into the minefield, thanks Todoroki, Noticing that a bone popped out, Venom. Venom. Oh yes, I'm sorry, regenerating him. Izuku. Thanks, now let's keep going, running like it's an everyday thing. Then he stood up again, and when he was just centimeters away from Todoroki, he grabbed his foot with another tentacle, causing him to fall. Present Mike. Wow, it seems you're right, the kid always gets his way. What do you guys say? Yay, if you agree, everyone. Yes. Back with Izuku, he was now next to Bakugo, who was trying to attack him, but without success. Bakugo. You think you can beat me? I was just a shitty Deku. Upon hearing that, he couldn't take it anymore, so with his right hand he was covered by Venom and one for all, and immediately afterwards he punched him again, leaving him in last place. Izuku. Hee, that felt pretty good, with malice in his words. Wait, what did I just say? After a while, he finally won first place thanks to OFA. Izuku. Yes, jumping with excitement at winning the first phase while the spectators congratulated him. But what they didn't know was that the symbiote was changing his attitude to a more negative one, all in order to let him out. Now we see all the students who survived the first phase eliminations. One of them was Izuku Midoriya, who took first place. However, we'll see if he has the same luck. Midnight. Okay, competitors, please rest for about 40 minutes and then we'll call you. Izuku. Phew, it's good that the worst is over, isn't that right, Uraraka? He asked his friend. Uraraka. Sure, but you really shone on the track, like when you used your tentacles or the time you walked past a mine and kept going. With each word she said, her speed increased to the point of making the green-haired boy blush. Izuku. Well, I was trying my best, Uraraka, and you weren't bad at all. Walking with her to the benches in the break room. Uraraka. You know, ever since I met you, you've been incredible. How much you've saved me, you never cease to amaze me. Izuku. Resting her head on his shoulder. Venom. Izuku, do you know what's happening now? The symbiote said, agitated. Izuku. I know perfectly well, I just hope they don't bother us about this, watching him fall asleep. Then the 40 minutes flew by, and the brunette's actions didn't go unnoticed. Instead, they became the focus of everyone's attention, leading to theories that they were already dating. However, this didn't last long, as they called him again. Midnight. Very well, now what you will do is. As she said that, a roulette wheel appeared and spun until it slowly stopped. Cavalry battle. A group of 4 people will have to team up. The 3 participants will have to carry their leader, while the one on top will have a blindfold with specific points. The more points you collect, the more points you win, and first place in the race costs 1 million. As he said that, everyone around Midoriya glared at him murderously while emanating a dark aura. Venom. Let them come, we will destroy them all. Me. Well, here's exactly what happened in the anime. I just want to say this. I didn't really like this phase and I don't want to do it. I'm really sorry. After the second phase, most of the contestants had to leave, and the final phase would be a confrontation. Izuku. Well, Venom, excited. Excitedly while drinking water in a room where only they were. Venom. To tell you the truth, yes, but I don't know how I couldn't see the ultra instincts Todoroki made, remembering how they stole his 100-point headband. Izuku. Yeah, speaking of Todoroki, I feel a little sorry for him, remembering the conversation about his past and the reason for not using his fire side. Venom. What? No, we must not show mercy to anyone. Shouting as he left his body, causing him to be a little scared. Izuku. Venom, calm down. He's our friend, not an enemy. Trying to reason with the symbiote. Venom. I don't care, we will be number 1 and it doesn't matter if we have to break some bones. Izuku. Venom, stop it already, this isn't funny. However, they heard footsteps approaching, so Venom once again entered the freckled boy's skin to hide. Uraraka. Izuku, are you here? Opening the door and just peeking her head in. Oh, you're here. Smiling just at seeing him. Izuku. Hello Uraraka, is something wrong? Approaching her. Uraraka. And no, I just wanted to see you, plus the fights are about to start, I'm so excited. After saying that, she looked at the ground and clasped her hands together to gather her courage. Izuku, after the festival, wouldn't you like to go to the beach with me? Embarrassed. Izuku. Scratching the back of his neck and looking at Uraraka's nervousness. Okay, then the brunette's eyes turned into stars. Uraraka. Thank you, I swear you won't regret it. Izuku. Hehe, no problem. Hearing the alarm that they have to meet, well, shall we go? Uraraka. Yes, nodding. Then the remaining participants saw the screen that showed who they were going to face. Izuku. Wow, I'm up against Shinso, looking at the screen. Ojiro. Midoriya, approaching the green-haired boy. Izuku. What's wrong, Ojiro? He asked, surprised, since he never spoke to him. Ojiro. Well, since he's going to fight Shinso, it's only fair to tell you what his quirk is. The freckled boy didn't say anything but had a look that said, you want to know? Well, it's mind control. If you answer him, he'll use his quirk and control your mind. Izuku. Wow, I've never heard of that quirk, thank you so much Ojiro. Ojiro. You're welcome, but please don't talk to him, just attack him. Izuku. Okay. Midnight. Calling through a megaphone. Midoriya and Shinso, go to the arena now. Izuku. Well, it's my time. Thanks for the information. Running towards the platform. After that, both students were already in the ring. Everyone present cheered for both contestants, and they looked each other in the eyes with determination. Present. Okay, let's begin. On our right is the aspiring hero of Class 1A, Midoriya. People screamed when he said that, and on our left is student Shinso. They also screamed for him. Midnight. Okay, these are the rules. If you leave the arena, if you don't get up within the next 10 seconds you're out, or if you give up you're disqualified. Also, if any fighter goes too far, I'll intervene along with Smintos. Izuku, Shinso. See. Midnight. Okay, that's settled, fight. As he said that, Izuku slowly approached the purple-haired boy, who simply remained in the same position. Shinso. You're a fraud and scum as a hero. He said it in a neutral tone. Izuku. What? But when he said that, a small crack appeared in the freckled boy's mind and his eyes turned completely white. Shinso. I've got you, having a happy face but not showing it with his tone, now get off the platform. He said nothing, he simply obeyed and headed outside. As he did this, everyone remained silent because they hadn't expected this outcome. Uraraka. What are you doing? Trying to wake him up. Kirishima. Giving up isn't very manly, to say the least. Watching Izuku walk slowly. Ojiro. But I told him not to listen to it. Holding his head with both hands. Iida. His quirk must be mind control. Return. Venom. Izuku. Snap out of it. He still doesn't respond and sees that he was approaching the limit. Oh no, I won't lose because of something stupid. Upon hearing that, Venom's black mass emerged in the form of tentacles, which confused the audience. Shinso. Deactivate your quirk. However, the tentacle approaches at maximum speed. Then the purple-haired one tried to dodge that tentacle, but what surprised him most was that it moved as if it had a life of its own. Thanks to a stumble, Venom grabbed him and threw him out of the arena. Midnight. Very well, Izuku Midoriya is the winner of this match. Everyone was calling out Izuku's name, but others were pondering his actions when he couldn't move. 10 minute time skip. Kirishima. Wow, Midoriya, how did you do that? Everyone in the room now. Ojiro. Right, how did you activate your quirk if you were still under his control? He asked, somewhat puzzled. Izuku. Well, it was a stroke of luck. Iida. I don't think so. Joining the conversation and causing a worried face on the freckled boy. What really happened is that Midoriya was acting, just so that Shinso lowered his guard and you attacked at the perfect moment. That was very clever of you, praising the green-haired boy and making him relax. Izuku. Why yes, that's why. Well, who are the next ones to fight? Kirishima. I think it's Uraraka's turn against Bakugo. Venom. He'll tear her to shreds. Izuku. That's not true, Venom. After that short conversation, he went straight to look for Uraraka. Izuku. Uraraka, waving to him from afar. Uraraka. Izuku, I'm almost there and I need to concentrate. Izuku. Yeah, I know, I just wanted to wish you good luck. Calmly. Midnight. With the megaphone, Uraraka Ochako to the platform. Uraraka. Well, it's time. Inhaling and exhaling. Izuku. Don't worry, I know you can do it. I believe in you. After saying that, he goes to the bench with the class. Me? Well, I'll put a video here because it's a bit complicated for me to explain here. We see the brunette with wounds and bruises from the recent fight against Bakugo, but that wasn't the problem was that she lost. Uraraka. Sniff. I'm weak, I disappointed my parents, tears running down her cheeks to her chin. But this was witnessed by the green-haired boy who couldn't stand to see her in that state, until his friend the symbiote spoke. Venom. Go with her, giving him pity, looking at his face like a cookie. Izuku. Sure, I don't want to say the wrong thing and make the situation worse. Venom. Relax, she cares about you a lot. It's better to cry with someone than to be alone. Izuku. Sighing. Okay. Going to the brunette. Uraraka, are you feeling alright? Uraraka. Izuku. I'm fine, I just got something in my eye, trying to hold back. Izuku. Don't lie. Sitting next to him. Uraraka. Sniff. It's okay, fine. The thing is, my parents aren't doing well financially. I thought if I won the festival, People would recognize me as a hero and agencies would hire me. Still crying. Izuku. But Uraraka, you were great. Besides, you gave Bakugo a real fight, and that's the least you could do. Trying to cheer her up, but still nothing. Uraraka. I disappointed my parents too, and, she whispered the last part, but the green-haired boy still heard it. Izuku. Hey, your parents aren't disappointed, are they? I feel honored to have someone like you. Uraraka. Someone like me. Blushing slightly and calming down. Izuku. You're smart, strong, your quirk is incredible, and you're the most beautiful person I've ever met. She just stood there, her heart racing as if it were about to burst, her cheeks flushed. She couldn't speak, but she could do one thing. Uraraka. She just hugged him tightly, wrapping her arms around his neck and crying on his shoulder, thank you, you're amazing too. Izuku. You're welcome. Returns the hug, I'll always be there for you. However, they couldn't stay in that position because Uraraka's phone started vibrating. She picked it up and saw that it was her parents. Izuku. Noticing who was calling her, well, I'll go watch the next fight. I'll see you later. Uraraka. Oh okay, still nervous but she mustered up the courage to answer the call. Hello. Uraraka's mother. Daughter, are you alright? Uraraka. Why yes, I'm sorry for losing. Uraraka's MP. It's okay, you did your best, we're very proud of you. Uraraka. Thank you, and I promise not to lose again. Thinking about what just happened with Izuku. Mom, can I talk to you alone? From Uraraka. Of course it happens. Uraraka. Well, do you remember we had a talk about how I felt about Izuku? Flashback. After giving him the kiss to save Bakugo, she headed home and the first thing she saw was her mother. Uraraka. Hi mom, giving him a hug. From Uraraka. Hi, how was your day? Uraraka. Okay, then she explained that Izuku saved her life twice, once during the entrance exam and once during battle training. From Uraraka. Wow, it must be very special to you, right? Uraraka. Something like that, but when I'm near him I feel weird, blushing. Uraraka's So, do you feel tense when you're with him? She asked and nodded, but do you like the feeling and are you happy when you're near him? She nodded again. Wow, I think you're. Findel flashback. From Uraraka. Were you finally able to clear your mind? Uraraka. Yes, mom, now I know exactly how I feel about Izuku. Watching from afar as she spoke with the rest of her classmates, I'm in love. Well, mom, I have to go. Bye. Time skip. Well, everything happened just like in the original series. The matchups were the same, including Ida's withdrawal because his brother was in critical condition. Finally, the pre-elimination rounds began, and the first match was Shoto Todoroki vs. Izuku Midoriya. Now they were in the ring while everyone's eyes were on these two, as were two heroes, to be specific, All Might watching his disciple while Endeavor watched his son but wanted to see him use his fire. Midnight. Alright gentlemen, the rules are the same, so fight. With that, they both lunged forward. Izuku used one for all at 10%, while Todoroki used his ice side. The bi-colored boy created pillars of ice to immobilize him, but the green-haired boy snapped his fingers, creating powerful gusts of wind that shattered the ice. To give you an idea, watch from minute 110 to 2 o'clock, just watch when Todoroki uses his ice and nothing else. Both boys were tired, but Midoriya was more so, his arms were broken, and his classmates, especially Uraraka, were worried. However, this didn't stop Todoroki. With a final movement, he unleashed a barrage of spikes aimed at the green-haired boy, causing numerous wounds that drew blood and sent him crashing to the ground. Todoroki. I'm sorry, but I have to prove the old man's uselessness. Midnight. 1 counting down. While this was happening, everything was on camera, while Venom was mentally communicating with Izuku. Izuku. Well, it seems I lost. In a sad tone. Venom. No, there's one thing you can do, just say phase 4 inches. Izuku. It's not necessary, just regenerate me. Midnight. 2. Venom. No, I'm fed up with you always being in control, now it's my turn. Izuku. Venom, please don't complicate things. Midnight. 3. Venom. It's the only way, unleash the beast. Do you want to disappoint Mom, All Might, and Uraraka? As he said this, Izuku saw how worried Uraraka was about him. Izuku. Okay. Venom. No, that's not right. Say it, say phase 4 inches. Midnight. 8, 9. However, the boy screamed, saying, phase 4, disconcerting both the audience and his classmates. But that wasn't all, because following that, Venom's black mass began to cover Izuku's entire body, and when it completely covered him, he now had the form of a burly, 2-meter-tall man. He had claws on his feet and hands, and finally, protruding fangs on his jaw. This caused fear in all the spectators, both the heroes present and his schoolmates. Venom. Looking around and everyone was staring at him in amazement. He. Finally I'm in charge. As we left off in the previous chapter, Venom now has complete control of his host's body. They weren't left with a stunned expression because the fight still had to continue, and Midnight signaled that they could proceed. Venom. Well, Todoroki, Izuku told me I had to be gentle with you, flexing his neck. Todoroki. Midoriya, did I say that? He asked himself because he was still stunned by the freckled boy's sudden action. Venom. Yes, and that's why I'm going to enjoy doing this. Saying that, he took a great leap towards the bicolored one. However, thanks to his ice, he stopped it by creating a wall. Venom then broke it thanks to his super strength, but Todoroki attacked the symbiote again, only this time he used a more powerful blast, which this time imprisoned the symbiote. Iida. What happened to Midoriya? Looking at the giant iceberg. Zero. Well, it seems to me he's already lost. When he did it to me, he won't be able to. Pam. That's what they could hear. They didn't know what it was until they saw the reason. The block was fracturing while the sounds of banging grew even louder, finally breaking the icy walls and revealing the symbiote in perfect condition. Venom. Pathetic, wiping the dust off his shoulders. You know, I was hoping to have some fun, but whatever, we're on top and nobody's bringing us down. He then charged at the dual quirk user. While they were fighting in another place far away from the stadium, the battle could be seen and its spectator was a middle-aged man, with a brown jacket that reached to his waist, black pants and a tie. It was Detective Naomasa. I don't know if that's his name. Naomasa. And no, it can't be perplexed since he knew, or rather perfectly recognized, the symbiote's appearance. God, I have to go before it leaves. Taking the phone, all units, go to the festival stadium. Back with Izuku. All Might. God, I never thought young Venom would turn out like this. Watching him savagely attack Todoroki. Venom. What's wrong, Todoroki? Did you just discover that we're much better than us? Dodging every attack he threw. Todoroki. Shut up. Getting angry, he puts his hands on the ground and then creates ice spikes aimed at his opponent. He reacted quickly and then began to jump over the peaks with relative ease. Immediately after that, Todoroki created 2 blocks of ice that were positioned between Venom and him. When he brought them together, they shattered again. Not only that, the symbiote grabbed both blocks with its webbing and slammed them into him. The impact created a large cloud of smoke, but thanks to the fact that it froze itself, it was able to protect itself. But Todoroki. Cough, falling to his knees while spitting blood. Venom. Oh come on, you can't be that weak. Approaching him, Shoto tried to hit him but only grabbed his arm and slammed him to the ground, then held him from head to toe. Say it, surrender, nobody can beat us. Speaking next to his ear. Izuku. Venom, stop. Can't you see he can't anymore? Reproaching him. You said you'd be gentle. Venom. So what if I lied? You always had me restrained like an animal. Now it's your turn. About to hit Shoto. Izuku. No, I won't allow it. As he said that, he was trying to remove the symbiote while it took possession of his body. This caused both of them to move abruptly. Kirishima. Hey, what's wrong with Midoriya? Iida. I don't know, if this is how I'm supposed to win. I didn't know it was like this. Watching as he aggressively held his head. Tokiyami. I see. This made everyone turn towards him. Everyone. What? Bakugo. Speak up, you talking chicken. Threatening the crow. Tokiyami. Look, since he transformed, so much so that his voice, way of thinking, and fighting technique have changed radically. Zero. So what, Momo? That means her own quirk is alive, the vice president deduced, looking at how all her classmates' eyes were wide with shock. Bakugo. Damn Deku, how come he's alive? He never told me. Tokiyami. Wait, we don't have time for your tantrums. He was about to shout if he hadn't been restrained by Kirishima and Shiro. I think Izuku and his quirk are fighting for control of his body. Upon saying that, everyone noticed the way Midoriya was moving. Uraraka. Izuku, why didn't you ever tell me? Whispering, but no one heard. Back with Izuku. Venom. Izuku, let me take care of this. No. Izuku. Ah, removing the black mass from his head, leaving him exposed. Ignore the arm, just the head. Izuku. Todoroki calling his attention and surprising everyone. Venom. What are you doing, idiot? Izuku. Shut up, Todoroki. Why don't you use your other quirk? Todoroki. I already told you, trying to get up, I won't use the old man's power. Trying to use his ice side but his arm was too worn out. Izuku. Why you see, look, all our friends used everything to get here from the entrance exam until now. You shouldn't think about it, just fight to be on top. After all, this is your power, not your father's. Todoroki. He didn't say anything, he was just processing until he said, I guess I have no other choice, then he ignites his fire side. Izuku. Smiling, I like it. However, the symbiote regained control, which worried Todoroki. Venom. It doesn't matter if you have two quirks, we will win this. Then Venom lunged, but Todoroki blasted him with a burst of flames across the arm, causing pieces of the symbiote to vanish. This surprised both All Might and Endeavor. Venom was hurt by that, but he continued attacking, creating a spiked ball from his hands. Todoroki moved away to avoid the impact and with all his might. Todoroki. Thank you, Midoriya. He then created a large wave of fiery flames that struck the symbiotic alliance head-on. Izuku, Venom. Ah. Both felt the same pain from the burning flames while the symbiote was separating from its host due to the immense pain. Izuku. Venom. Feeling that he was detaching. Venom. Izuku. Green-haired only. All the spectators' eyes rolled back in their heads at what they saw next. But I didn't hesitate long. Now Venom's humanoid form transformed into a puddle as it separated from Izuku. Izuku. Venom. Stepping back while touching the black mass, please answer, taking off his blue hoodie and carrying the symbiote. Todoroki. Midoriya, are you feeling okay? Sorry if I overstepped. He was worried, but ignored him and ran off, leaving him alone. Midnight. Reconsidering, the winner is Todoroki by default. Some people booed, others cheered. They booed because he won after the green-haired man left the ring. They cheered because he was about to lose but managed to secure the victory thanks to his right side. Uraraka. Guys, hurry, we have to find Izuku. Everyone nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, Izuku was running like crazy towards an empty room. He sat down quickly and tried to talk to the symbiote. Izuku. Venom, please don't leave me. You're my best friend. Kneeling while tears fell onto the black mass. Seeing how he reacted, yes, come, raising his hand. Then Venom slowly approached due to the damage Todoroki did to him. Venom. Idiot. He then used his tentacles to pin Izuku's body to the wall. Why did you have to convince him? Then he stuck his head out to yell at him face to face. Izuku. I had to do it. I'm sorry, but that's what heroes do, help. Trying to calm Venom. Venom. Yeah, sure, but thanks to that we lost. I almost died, and we disappointed everyone. Izuku. What? Asking. Somewhat confused. Venom. Yes, we let everyone down. Mom, All Might, and Uraraka. Now they'll think we're weak, useless, Dekus. While they were discussing, Class A split into groups. One group, consisting of Uraraka, Iida, Jiro, and Bakugo, heard some shouts, but they also encountered Todoroki, who was also looking for Izuku. Jiro. Guys, I think I hear him and someone is yelling at him. Listening through their connectors, there at the second door on the right. Now we're back where Venom slammed him against the wall, demanding answers about what happened in the fight where Todoroki almost destroyed the symbiote. Venom. You're an idiot and a moron. Izuku. Venom. I did it to help him even though it cost me the victory. Venom. And the bastard almost killed me. If you had let me finish, we would be in the next round, but you're too soft. Izuku. It's not being soft, I just wanted to help him overcome his trauma trying to break free from the symbiote's grip. However, they both had to stop arguing since Iida, Uraraka, Todoroki, Bakugo, and Jiro entered. Bakugo. What the hell is going on here? Seeing the situation, I misinterpret it. Jiro. Don't worry, Midoriya, we'll get that thing out of you. Approaching slowly. Meanwhile, a group consisting of Momo, Kaminari, Kirishima, and Tokiyami were searching the corridors without success in finding the green-haired boy, but they just happened to cross paths with Detective Naomasa and a SWAT team. Momo. Mr. Naomasa, what are you doing here? She asked, somewhat confused and fearful upon seeing the man's gloomy gaze. Naomasa. I've come for your partner Izuku Midoriya, he said this dryly, not because of the green-haired boy, but because of what he had. Kaminari. But why didn't he do anything wrong? Complaining. But, Naomasa. He hasn't done anything yet, but I'll have to arrest him for being a villain. Everyone. Villain. Naomasa. Not exactly, but there's no time to explain. Please tell me where he is. Saying this, her attitude changed to a worried one. Kirishima. Sorry, but we didn't see him. We split up and... But Kaminari's phone started vibrating. Kaminari. It's Jiro pressing the answer button. Hello, they found him. Calling the attention of those present. Okay, we're on our way. After that, Kaminari saw the group with the police. The closer he got, the more he could hear a very deep voice. Naomasa entered the room first and denied the boys access. Naomasa. Quieto. Pointing his weapon at the symbiotic duo. Izuku. Wow sir, please, I'm not doing anything. This scared him a little, but Venom let him go because he knew what was going to happen. Naomasa. You all go, ordering everyone. Uraraka. But we can't leave him. Protesting. Trying to defend her friend, Love. Naomasa. I said leave. Shouting at them, they had no choice but to retreat, leaving him alone against the SWAT team and the detective. Now all units here, everyone has been evacuated. Venom. Kid, we'll have to fight to get out of this situation. He didn't respond to what the green-haired boy said. Izuku. The green-haired boy looked around and then thought, the police want to arrest him. His friends saw his dark side and surely the heroes will come to arrest him too, so he had no other options. Izuku. Okay, he said, defeated and seeing his dream as a hero collapse. Now he had to think about how to get out of this. Phase 4. Venom. Understood. All the police officers were terrified but proceeded to fire, though their shots had no effect. Then Naomasa threw a stun grenade at his feet, which did have an effect. Venom didn't stop there. Instead, with his immense strength, he smashed through the wall and escaped from the room to the break room, which wasn't small, it was about the size of the UA cafeteria. The lights were off because they wanted to lure him into a trap and launch a surprise attack. Lieutenant. Attention, use thermal vision. Immediately everyone obeys and puts on the goggles. But what they didn't expect was to see the symbiote with a macabre and malicious smile. Lieutenant. Fire. Upon hearing that, everyone obeyed. Nothing happened to the symbiote. It simply used its tentacles to disarm them, then attacked them one by one like an animal. Lieutenant. Quick, use stun grenades. He was telling the next group that was coming. SWAT. Grenade thrown. Venom noticed this even as he continued fighting the previous group of agents. With his tentacles he grabbed the grenades and threw them back at the police, where they finally exploded and stunned most of them. Venom. He, how fun, while you pointing at the last one, grabbing him by the neck. I'm hungry. Izuku F4. No Venom, don't do it. We have to get out of here. Venom. GCH, how boring, looking at the policeman. Lucky you, headbutting him, knocking him unconscious. This happened while a brunette managed to evade police security and went to the back of the stadium. Everything was empty to her. There was no trace of Venom or the police until she heard some banging and finally saw a SWAT member coming through the wall. Uraraka. Izuku. Watching from afar while Detective Naomasa was restrained by spider webs. With Venom. Venom. Well, look who we have here. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Approaching and grabbing him by the neck. Naomasa. Come on, let him go. Don't drag a child into this. she said seriously while trying to breathe. Venom. Why would I? We're the best duo, and she doesn't treat me like a puppet, like the rest did. Naomasa. So now you're the puppeteer, saying it seriously. Venom. No, he agreed to be my host, thanks to that we are stronger than ever, we are better, we. Izuku, Venom. We are Venom, showing half of Izuku's face. Uraraka. Venom. She wondered, but continued observing and then headed to the back. Venom. Well, we'll have to go, shooting a web at his face, ha ha ha, see you at Disney. Then he jumps and destroys the ceiling. After that, we found the stadium's fiercest duo, to be more specific, in the back. Venom. Well, we have to go. When Izuku was about to activate OFA, he felt something in his hand, huh? Uraraka. I want to talk to Izuku. Tightening her grip, but Venom didn't do anything to her. Please, I won't hurt you, I just want to talk to him. Venom. Okay. Uraraka, having compassion, the symbiote was entering the freckled boy's skin until it left him. Uraraka. Izuku, why are you doing this? Holding back tears, are you a villain? Izuku. No, Uraraka, you're mistaken. Venom used to be a bad guy, but he changed when we met. Reflecting, well, a little, but we're not the villains. Besides, if he lets me get captured, I'll be separated from Venom, and he's like a brother to me. I have to protect him. Grabbing both of Uraraka's hands and looking into her eyes. Uraraka. She was processing what he said, but all the time she'd spent with him, she already knew what he was like. It's okay, Izuku, I believe you. Izuku. Thanks, but I have to go. Venom Phase 1. He then transformed into Spider-Man's black suit. Uraraka. Please take care of yourself. Izuku F1. I promise you. As he says that, he uses one for all at 20% to take another leap and move away from the scene. 3 days have passed since the events of the sports festival, and both heroes and the police were searching for him. The question is, what will they do when they find him? Let's see what the solution will be. We see a thin man sitting and staring intently at Detective Naomasa. Even though they were friends, this encounter wasn't exactly friendly. The room was dark because the windows were covered with blue curtains, and both were sitting on a white sofa. All Might. Why did you do that? Can't you see I was scared? Yelling at the detective. Naomasa. Look, I've been chasing that monster for many years and I won't stop until I capture it. All Might. Young Venom isn't a monster. He and Midoriya have done heroic things. Naomasa. That doesn't negate everything he did during my investigation. He's linked himself to many villains, and now he's corrupting the boy. Besides, he has one for all. You know how dangerous that could be. All Might. Sighs in defeat. Look, I trust him, and I still do. I don't care if he was a villain before, now he has a chance to redeem himself. He just stares. Okay, what if I find him, convince him to return to UA along with Venom, and I'll be supervising him the whole time. Naomasa. Okay, but only because I trust you and you're my friend. I just need to explain everything to his classmates and his mother. She said this while listening to murmurs from the other side. What was happening was that they were at Toshinori's house and they weren't alone. Class 1A and Izuku's mother, Inko, were also there. All Might. All right, you can go in now. Transforming into his muscular form. With that, everyone entered the blonde man's small room. All Might. You all know why we're here. They just nodded. Inko. Were you able to find my son? Trying not to cry. Naomasa. I'm sorry, but no, we're still looking for him. All Might. Okay, now we'll explain what happened at the sports festival. Uraraka. As Tokiyami said, he controlled his quirk, and that's why it went out of control. Naomasa. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. That wasn't her quirk. Everyone. What? Eyes widening in shock. Uraraka. But she told me her quirk is called symbiosis. Inko. I can explain that. Everyone looked at her confused. You see, I do know. When he told me we went to the doctor to have him examined. Venom went through his quirk and that's where they gave it the name symbiosis. Naomasa. I see, well, let's continue. This thing calls itself a symbiote, surprising the audience. When I went to work in the USA, I was assigned a case of chaos. It involved several villains with the same quirk, like the villain Gargan, also known as the Scorpion. Naomasa. There was also another case called the Vulture. Kirishima. So Midoriya is a villain too. Looking at the photos closely. Naomasa. No, the symbiote is the villain. After we figured out that it always escapes, we were able to find the lair where it was. You know Osborne Industries. Momo. My parents have connections with the company, but what do they have to do with it? Naomasa. Well, earlier NASA found some rare material from a fallen meteorite. The Osborne company offered to analyze the substance. However, taking a recorder out of her briefcase, one of their employees named Octavius took it without supervision, and they couldn't find them. That's when he turned on the recorder. Naomasa. Okay, now I want you to explain what that thing is. She asked about the black mass. Octavius. It's not a thing, it's a symbiote from space. It needs a host to live, but it can't go with just anyone, which is why it abandons the hosts it assigns them. Each time it possesses a host, it can transform into various forms. Naomasa. And what are her abilities? Octavius. He can enhance all of the host's physical attributes, even copying the abilities of others. Naomasa. And does he have any weaknesses? Octavius. He can only be destroyed with fire or high-frequency sounds. These are the only ways to eliminate him. End of recording. Everyone remained silent, processing everything they had heard, until Naomasa spoke again. Naomasa. Well, when we went to Dr. Octavius's lair, the Venom symbiote was there in a jar surrounded by beams that electrocuted it. But when I touched it, the self-destruct mode started and we couldn't do anything. Iida. But in the end, Venom survived because he's linked to Midoriya. Naomasa. Exactly, and its previous host before Midoriya was Lee Price. Naomasa. He was a serial assassin who, unlike the others, was able to subdue the symbiote. Inko. How? She asked because with her experience with Venom it wasn't easy. Naomasa. Well, I investigated his base and found videos where he tortured Venom every day with fire or loudspeakers that would deafen anyone. This caused his will to break and he obeyed everything he said. In the end, when he was cornered, Venom abandoned him immediately. After that, I couldn't find him until now. Uraraka. Feeling sorry for Venom, he must have had a hard life. Reflecting while looking at Izuku's mother. Meanwhile, we can see Izuku with the symbiote in the outskirts of the city because of his fear of being found. Izuku. Sniff crying while sitting leaning against a tree. I abandoned my dreams, now they'll see us as a monster and a villain. Venom. Relax, kid poking his head out. At least we're together and nobody can separate us, remember that, but look at that pointing at a house where there were several gang members. Izuku. You think the same as me transforming his suit into phase 2. Venom. Oh yeah, if we won't be the greatest heroes, we can be the greatest vigilantes in the world. It was night, the stars shone brightly across the night sky, but tonight would not be a peaceful night. Far from the city, a cabin could be seen. Gang members, criminals, and villains lived there, hiding from the heroes, but what they didn't know was that this would be their last night. Leader. Hey, remember that tomorrow. But he didn't finish, the cabin light went out, damn it, Mike, check the fuse box. Mike. Okay, leaving the wooden house. When he left, the front door was about to close by itself, but a gust of wind from outside suddenly flung it open, startling those present. Villain. That's strange, they said there wouldn't be any south winds. Confused. What they didn't know was that someone had entered the cabin without anyone noticing. He was on the roof. Leader. Well, I've already found some candles. When he lit the candle, the villain's eyes were fixed on a figure in a black suit similar to that of the SWAT team, glued hand and foot to the support pillar of the cabin, and with its bulging eyes, it reflected all the villains present. Izuku F2. Hello. Jumping and standing in the middle of the villains who formed a circle. What are you waiting for? Attack. As he said that, 2 villains approached him, but Izuku wrapped his arm around one of them and squeezed it so tightly that he broke his bone. Villain. Gah. But he would be silenced with a blow knocking him to the ground. Then the other one threw the spider web at his face to talk to him, causing him to fall and hit the ground hard. 3 villains, one with a plant quirk, tried to entangle him with plants, but Izuku countered the stalk with knives created by the symbiote. Another villain tried to punch him, but the green-haired boy reacted quickly, grabbing the fist tightly and bending it, causing his wrist to break. Villain 3. Falling to the floor holding his bad hand. Izuku F2. Come on, who's next? Once again, the plant man tried to attack him, but Izuku launched his web at the villain's feet, pulling him down. The green-haired boy ran towards him again, crouching to deliver another blow that knocked him out. Izuku F2. You're next. Pointing at the leader. Leader. Well then, come on. As he said that, his body turned to stone. It's time to fight. Izuku F2. Oh yeah, Phase 3. Immediately afterwards it transformed into the same form he used to fight the Nomu. He didn't say anything, they just ran towards each other. They clashed fists, then continued clashing at full speed. Izuku was fed up, so he used one for all at 70% to finally punch him, slamming him against the wall. Following that, he delivered a hammer blow, leaving him almost on the verge of death. Izuku. I think I'm done. But he heard footsteps outside the house and sensed that someone was going to come in. Mike. Hi, I fixed the light, you just have to. But he saw all his classmates on the ground and then went outside, however Izuku's web pulled him back inside. Izuku F3. Now tell me everything I want to know. Approaching the criminal. Mike. What do you want to talk about? Terrified, he tried to run away, but in the end he couldn't. Izuku grabbed him by his shirt and slammed him against the wall. Izuku F3. Don't play dumb. Because a bunch of thugs would be gathered in the middle of nowhere. Answer me, tightening his grip. Mike. Gathering courage, I won't say anything. Izuku F3. So that's how it is, huh? Well, what do you think about talking to my friend about it? As he said that, his eyes changed and the mask was transforming into the phases of a monster with a long tongue that was touching his face as if it were tasting him. Venom. Now you'll tell me everything. Shouting while biting his arm, causing it to separate from his body. Mike. AAHHHHGGGG, my fucking maniac arm. Venom. Speak, or I'll take the other one, swallowing the arm like it was a noodle. Mike. Oh okay, we're just escorting a shipment for some Yakuza. Please, the logbook is on the table, pointing with his one arm. Venom. You know, I'd let you go, but I got hungry. When he said that, he opened his mouth to swallow it in one gulp. After digesting it, he spat out the bones as if they were nothing, but our green-haired friend was disturbed. He always thought he was just joking. But tonight, without a ship, he discovered his true nature. Venom. I know what you're thinking, but nobody's going to miss them. Besides, did you really think I was only supposed to live on chocolates? Izuku. Venom, but that was wrong. Venom. Come on, don't play innocent. When you beat up Bakugo, you felt good too. And the fight against that chicken. You showed him no mercy until he died. Izuku. Sighing, I still don't know, you know this happened too fast, please let me process it. Venom. I understand, but let me tell you this. I always nourished myself with voice, now that we have no food we'll have to do this. Izuku. He was thinking about it because, to be honest, when he remembered that, his heart filled with adrenaline, he had to admit it was exciting. Maybe, but not very often. Venom enjoyed killing. He inherited that trait from Lee Bryce, his last host. Perhaps he does it out of spite, but deep down, he does it for revenge. He didn't just want to kill Lee Bryce. He wanted to exterminate all the villains who resembled his last host so that no one else would suffer what he experienced. Obviously, he never told Izuku this. He wanted to keep up appearances, and his pride also prevented him. He didn't want Izuku to see him as sentimental, but after so much time with the green-haired boy, he couldn't bear it. Izuku. Well, it says several locations here and that their buyers are called the Preceptors of Death, curious looking at the logbook. Venom. Are you feeling alright? Venom. It's okay. Hey, now that we know their locations, wouldn't it be better to go now? Izuku. You're right, let's go. Months have passed since Midoriya dropped out of school and became a vigilante. The police and heroes were still searching for him, but they only had leads from crime scenes, such as a fight at a pier where Yakuza were present. However, that wasn't all. They also found red bullets that, with much research, could erase quirks. His classmates weren't doing well. Feeling a void, even Bakugo, but especially Uraraka, who had recently admitted her feelings for the green-haired boy. Now we can see how Izuku, in phase 1 of the suit, was looking at a recently abandoned factory in the distance, but that wasn't the important thing. Rather, a guy dressed like a plague doctor, including the mask, and his companions were doing business about exporting their products. Yakuza, I don't remember the name. Alright, we have the shipment, now let's talk business. Villain. Here, giving him a briefcase full of money. Yakuza. Good, snaps his fingers and his henchmen bring wooden boxes. While this was happening, our security guard was watching from the ceiling through a glass panel. Izuku F1. They're trying to sell those bullets again, Venom. Do you want to take care of it this time? Venom. I thought you'd never ask me. Go ahead, transforming into his original form. While the criminals were about to close the deal, I heard from the ceiling as the glass shattered, and finally Venom appeared on the scene. Yakuza. We'd better go. He said this as his henchmen started the truck to get out of there, and they successfully escaped, leaving only the symbiote and the criminals. Venom. Faggots, alright boys, you're not getting out of here today, bumping his fists but watching them flee. Don't run away, cowards. Upon saying that, Venom's tentacles sprang into action. First, they ensnared him, completely covering his head to the point of suffocation, until a cracking sound of bones signaled his death. Then, with his body, Venom threw him towards one who was trying to attack him. Afterwards, another villain with the quirk of duplicating his body created several clones around the symbiote. Izuku. Venom, hit the ground when I tell you, activating OFA to 80%. Venom. Okay, preparing the attack, and when he saw that all the clones were approaching he gave a blow that caused a small earthquake. This caused all the clones to disappear, and in a swift movement, Venom created a sword to stab himself in the chest. Izuku. I think that's all of them. As he said that, he took on his phase 2 form. I'll call the police to take away the bodies. After a call with a fake voice, he went out to patrol a little longer since the night was still young. Meanwhile, we can see a brunette with her head down while her arms were crossed, touching her elbows. She was dressed in her school uniform heading home. Uraraka. Izuku, Susurando. However, 3 guys got quite close to the girl. Uraraka. Excuse me, please. Trying to move away, but someone grabs her arm. Let me go. She was going to slap him, but the men would push her into a dead end. Bully 1. Come on baby, let's have some fun. Uraraka. No, please. Help. But it would be interrupted by. Minutes before, we see the green-haired man with the appearance of Agent Venom, running and jumping across the rooftops of buildings so as not to attract attention, but he could hear some screams. Izuku F2. Venom, did you hear something? The freckled boy asked. Venom. I think so. Uraraka. Let me go. Shouting loudly. Izuku F2. That voice remembering Uraraka. Then, using a little bit of one for all, he ran everywhere until he found himself in the same scene as before. Then, with a swift movement, he drops to the ground while shooting his web right at the hand Uraraka was about to touch, which caught the attention of the thugs. Izuku F2. Leave her alone or you'll regret it, glaring at the guys. Bully. Ha, we're not afraid of you, besides, there are more of us than you. Izuku F2. Well, what are you waiting for? Having said that, the 3 of them headed towards the green-haired boy, and this was seen by the brunette. Uraraka. Izuku, watching him fight the criminals, came to protect me. Back with Izuku, one of them tried to hit him, but Midoriya wrapped his arm around the thug, immobilizing him so he could frantically hit him on the head. Almost stunned, he grabbed both of the villain's arms, followed by a powerful knee strike that made him spit out saliva, then headbutted him, knocking him out. Another villain with the quirk of creating blades tried to attack, but Izuku pointed his wrists at the man's face, pulling him in and delivering a right hook. Izuku F2. You're next, pointing at the last one, but he was leaving. Hey Venom, let's try it. Venom. Of course. As he said that, the symbiote activated projectiles from the shoulder pads of its suit. Just as the criminal was about to leave, Izuku fired spheres made of spider web from his missile launchers, but in flight they transformed into a net that ultimately trapped him against the wall. Izuku. I think that's enough. But the villain who had previously knocked him out had stabbed him so hard that the knife pierced his chest. Uraraka. Izuku, screaming in fear upon seeing him hurt. Villain. Hee, now I can have some fun with her without anyone bothering me, increasing the force of the stab. Izuku, Venom. Touch her and we'll eat you. Showing Venom's teeth. As he said that, he gathered strength in his arms, grabbed the villain, and lifted him completely while placing his knee on him, finally lowering him to deliver a knee strike that broke his back. Villain. Ah, but he would be silenced by a punch from the boy. Uraraka. Izuku, standing up and slowly approaching, but the green-haired boy no longer had the strength and collapsed to the ground. Izuku, no. Helping him, calm down, I'll take you to a hospital. Izuku F2. You Uraraka. That was the last thing the freckled boy said as he closed his eyes. Uraraka. No, 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 please don't go, putting him on her lap and resting her head on his chest. I haven't told you how I feel yet. Venom. Don't worry, he's just unconscious, manifesting himself and surprising the brunette. I'm already healing him, it will take a while. Then the atmosphere became tense as Uraraka couldn't believe what she was seeing. Well, she already knew of the symbiote's existence but had never seen it in person. Uraraka. So you're Venom, right? Venom. Yes, I am. He said nothing more. Uraraka. I see, hey, everyone already knows what you were and what you did in the past, she said seriously. Venom. He just sighed to answer, yes, I already figured as much, but you have to understand that I did it for survival. Dr. Octopus forced me to link up with his group of villains. Uraraka. Calm down, we know you had a hard time too, but did you have to drag Izuku into this? She said seriously, remembering what happened at the sports festival. Venom. When I didn't drag him into anything, we decided. Uraraka. Of course, he'd love to be a vigilante instead of a hero, sarcastically. Venom. Hey, if I hadn't decided anything for Todoroki, we'd be on top. Uraraka. Izuku isn't to blame. He always helps everyone, no matter their condition. Venom. Well, we agree on that. Changing the subject, when you were crying like a little girl, what were you going to say to Izuku? Noticing that he had a noticeable blush. Uraraka. I wasn't going to say. Venom. You like it, don't you? Uraraka. How do you know that? Stuttering and blushing like Hinata. Venom. It was so obvious, you always watched him from afar. You got nervous when he appeared, and on top of that, that Mina Ishido girl was already betting on who would confess first. Uraraka. Well, so what? I really love Izuku, from his face to that innocent personality that I can never get out of my head, and I don't care what you or anyone else thinks. Venom. Interesting. Having finished healing Izuku, he then transformed into his original form. Well, goodbye, Uraraka. Wait. Calling his attention, if you really care about Izuku, come back to Ua. Everyone misses you. Mrs. Midoriya is looking for you every day. Venom. Speaking behind her back, what happens if we return? Will they accept us or separate us? Uraraka. You'll never know if you don't take the risk. Venom. Let me think about it, before I go. Izuku loves you too. Uraraka. Her face was burning hot and smoke was coming out of her ears. Venom. I like it. Well, see you at Disney, using his webs to swing. After the events of the previous chapter, Uraraka now felt very happy, since Izuku reciprocated her feelings, but even so, that doesn't solve the problem of her returning to Ua. But let's not focus on that now. It's been about 2 weeks since Izuku escaped, which means all the students who participated in the sports festival will have to go to the hero departments they applied to and do hero activities for a week. For example, the class president Tenya Iida wanted revenge against the hero killer for almost killing his brother. Now with the name Ingenium to exterminate that villain, let's see how he will do it. Stain. Revenge isn't heroic, you know. He unsheathed his sword. Iida. I don't care, I'll avenge my brother, as I said before, my friend, no matter the cost. Saying that, he activated his engines to go at full speed towards Stain. The assassin dodged him without any difficulty. Just as he was about to strike, Iida spun his hips to kick Stain with his quirk, forcing his opponent back. Stain. Not bad, kid, but you're still far from beating me. Then he leapt between the walls of the alley, making his attack unpredictable. Then Stain saw that he was going to jump immediately afterward, and in a quick movement he took out his knife to throw it at the challenger, hitting him in the shoulder. Iida. Jack, complaining of the pain and pulling out the knife. Stain. Okay, my turn. Then he stopped jumping on the walls and landed where his knife was, finally licking the blood around him. When Iida was about to attack, he felt his body grow so heavy that he fell to his knees. Iida. What's wrong? Straining to move, but it was useless. Stain. You really thought you could defeat me? Now I'll do the world a favor by killing a fake hero. Just as he was about to execute him, a black tentacle threw him against the wall. Izuku F2. Killing a rookie isn't very dignified, to say the least. Then I jumped from the building to the alley to get Iida to safety. Izuku F2. Don't worry, I'll take care of this. He laid him against the wall so he could rest. Iida. Thank you Midoriya. Izuku F2. Hey, that's what friends are for. Standing up and looking at the assassin who stood up. Stain. So you guys are Venom. I saw you on TV. You're a piece of trash as a hero. Izuku F2. I'm no longer a hero, in a defensive stance. Then Izuku fires nets from his shoulder-mounted launchers, but Stain cuts them through like paper. Later, with Venom's help, he unleashes several tentacles, intending to ensnare him, but once again, thanks to Stain's reflexes, he evades them effortlessly. Izuku F2. Well, I'll have to get serious. As he said that, the green rays of One for All appeared in Midoriya's body, then with his speed he was able to deliver a blow to his chest leaving him almost without oxygen. Stain. I suppose I'll have to get serious too. As he said that, he released 2 flashbangs, stunning the green-haired man. Then the assassin took advantage and stabbed him in the ribs, finally licking his blood. Izuku F2. And no, I can't move, trying but couldn't move. Iida. Midoriya. Stain. I'm tired of this, now die, about to stab him but is interrupted again. Now the one who would save him is Todoroki, who luckily was on patrol and was able to hear the fight between them, so first he creates a wall of ice where he protects Izuku to fight against the hero killer. Venom. Izuku, let me handle this, said the symbiote because the green-haired boy was standing still. Izuku F2. Okay, do you need me to activate One for All? He asked Venom. Venom. No, I have a plan. Looking over his head at the fight between Todoroki and Stain. I'll have to ally myself with him, he said, annoyed because of their last encounter. Izuku F2. I'll leave this in your hands. As he said that, the black mass covered the boy again to form Venom. Iida. Midoriya. He was a witness to what he was seeing and felt both relieved and afraid at the same time. Venom. Hey Iida, already transformed. Iida. Why yes, he said fearfully at the symbiote's appearance. Venom. Don't get involved in this. Saying that, he leaps high, leaving the blue-haired man frozen, or else he turned his hand into a knife with a macabre smile. You'll regret it. He was doing well with Todoroki, but due to the confined space, he couldn't properly control the fire on his right side. However, he would stop attacking as he watched Venom approaching the assassin. Todoroki. I have to distract him so I can defeat him. Stain was hit by a block of ice, followed by someone touching his shoulder. It was Venom, and without wasting any time, he delivered a hook with such force that it sent him flying onto the roof of a building. Venom. Well, while you pointing at Todoroki in the distance, thank you, but. Todoroki. Puro. Venom. This, saying that, he covers him in webbing until he's just a shell. Don't get in my way or I won't be merciful like last time, threatening the bicolored one. Then he began to climb quickly to the top, and when he did, he could see the villain getting back on his feet. Venom. Well, tonight will be your last night alive. A few words before I crush you like a fly. Raising his fist and clenching it. Stain. Killing is not something a hero does. Venom. How many times do we have to say it already? No, we are heroes. Saying that, he lunged at him. Stain jumped to dodge, but Venom had already predicted this, so with his webs he anchored him by the foot, pulled him down, and slammed him against the ceiling. And with a swift movement, using his mandibles, he bit his arm. Stain. With his free arm he used another knife to stab her in the chest, causing her to release her grip. Venom. You seriously think you can stop me with these trinkets? Taking off the knife as if it were nothing. Stain. His vision was blurry, his legs were turning into jelly, and his breathing was accelerating. What did you do to me? Venom. It simply paralyzes you like a spider bite. Izuku. Wow, I didn't know you did that. The green-haired boy was impressed. Venom. I have several aces up my sleeve, but this has to end. When she said that, she used the spider webs again to throw him out of the building. Venom. Get down. He also fell, and when Stain hit the ground the pain was worse as the symbiote landed on top of him. This surprised the residents of the area, causing them to flee the scene. Stain. AHG, cough, AHG, spitting blood from the fall. Venom. For now, you were the hardest to kill, but the hero killer's killing spree is over. As he said that, his hand transformed into a sharp sword that was about to stab him, but a wall of ice protected him. Todoroki. I can't allow them to do that, please come with us. Venom. Yeah, right, in the end they're going to separate us, and I told you not to interfere, creating spiked balls in each hand. Todoroki. The duty of every hero is to save lives, not take them, preparing his fire side. Izuku. Wait, transforming back. Todoroki. Midoriya, please don't do this, we can. However, in the distance the city could be seen in flames, and several Nomus could also be seen attacking. Izuku. There's no time. Todoroki, you and Iida go and protect the people. Todoroki. And what will you do? The bi-colored boy asked, somewhat agitated. Izuku. The best thing we do is destroy, saying that activates phase 3 of the suit. Todoroki. Wait until this is over, we need to have a serious talk. Izuku F2. Okay, but first putting Stain against a wall and finally entangling him in his webs, there, that'll do. Then, with the OFA at 60%, he makes a jump that raises the dust of the place. Meanwhile, we can see a hero fighting against these Nomus, to be more exact it was Gran Torino, who was fighting so that all the citizens could escape. Gran Torino. He was fighting a Nomu that had just been derived. I'm too old for this, but he would receive another blow from yet another. The one who struck him was a gray-skinned monster, thin but just as tall, and what stood out about him was that he had 2 wings. Meanwhile, a dark-skinned Nomu was about to attack him, but Momo. Kill hero about to hit him from behind, but a black sword would pierce him and finally be cut in half. Izuku F3. Who killed the Nomu and then helped the old hero? Are you alright, sir? Gran Torino. Yes, but looking at the body, was that necessary? Izuku F3. Sorry, it all happened so fast, scratching the back of his neck nervously. Gran Torino. Don't worry and thank you, would you help me with this one? Pointing at the flying Nomu. Izuku F3. Yes, sir. As he said that, he shot webs at his face, obscuring the monster's vision. Quickly, while he's distracted. Gran Torino. I understand, then using his quirk he rises to maximum speed. But it didn't affect him. Then, using one for all, Izuku jumped and, to finish him off, punched him with both hands. After that, the Nomu didn't get up. Izuku F3. I think that's all, I have to go, seeing the police in the distance. Gran Torino. Wait a minute, you're the 9th bearer, aren't you? He asked as he approached. Izuku F3. How do you know? Amazed since no one knew of the existence of OFA. Gran Torino. Excuse me, my name is Gran Torino. I was Toshinori's teacher. You know, he always talked about you. Izuku F3. Why, you're really his teacher. Excited to meet him, nice to meet you, I'm Izuku Midoriya. Gran Torino. Haha, it's alright, calm down. Hey, but go back to school, because if you don't, you'll become a slacker. He pats him on the back. Izuku F3. Okay, by jumping at top speed. What Izuku didn't know is that Torino implanted a tracking chip in him when he patted him on the back. We'll see what happens in the next chapter. The next day, Torino notified All Might about the tracker, and thanks to that, he sent them the coordinates of his current location. Then, thanks to that, he headed as fast as possible with One for All to find his disciple. All Might. Well, this should be it. Looking at the same cabin in the middle of the forest where Venom attacked. So he walked slowly, feeling both happy and nervous. Happy because after so long he could finally see his student again, and nervous because he didn't know what to say. But in the end, he wouldn't give up until Midoriya returned to the path of a hero. All Might. Sighing, all right, here I go. Slowly opening the door, able to see inside the house young Midoriya, young Venom. Please don't hide. He was just searching through all the rooms until in the last one he saw a desk where he had an envelope that said, for Oromedo. All Might. He just sighed in defeat but hadn't lost hope yet. Let's see what he says. Saying that, he pulled up a chair to sit down and turned on the light to see clearly. When he picked up the envelope, he felt it was heavier than usual, so he proceeded to open it, and what he saw left him wide-eyed. All Might. They knew it all this time, grabbing the tracker that was resting in the envelope. She said nothing more, she just began to read the note that Izuku had written to her. Hello Oromedo. We already knew Gran Torino implanted the chip in us, and thanks to that, you'll be able to read this. Don't worry, I'm not angry with you, it's just that we can't go back to what we were. And again, we're not upset with you guys, it's just that I'm afraid they won't accept me, and I fear they'll separate us. I couldn't imagine a life without Venom. Another thing. Rest assured, I'll use one for all for good, never for evil. And if I find a better successor than me, I'll give them OFA, or if not, I'll return it to you. I'm sorry if I disappointed you by not being the hero you once imagined. ATTE. Izuku Midoriya. When he finished reading, several drops of water soaked the page. This was caused by All Might. Even though he was smiling, he was suffering greatly. All Might. Why you didn't disappoint me, I did. Head against desk, if I were there, I would have had to defend you. I'm pathetic. Sobbing uncontrollably until he stood up, but I promised your mother and your comrades that you would be back, and I never break a promise. Then she gets up, dries her tears, and instead of grimacing, returns with her characteristic smile to leave the cabin and resume her search. Time skip. In the alleys of Tokyo, several criminals could be seen lying dead on the ground, their bodies covered in bites or holes. The cause was Venom in his original form, who was about to devour his victim, however. Villain. Please let me go. Pleading while trying to free himself from the symbiote's webs. Venom. Now tell me something worthwhile, and if we're not interested, you'll melt in my stomach. About to swallow him. Villain. Well, I belong to the League of Villains. Venom. Keep going, the symbiote ordered. Villain. Well, they're planning an attack on the UA students. Izuku. Venom. Tell me everything. Villain. And all I know is that today was the attack and Class A and B are at a camp in the Pussycat's offices. Venom. Well, I'll let you live for now, removing the web. Villain. Thank you, you won't regret it, running as far away as possible from the symbiotic duo. Izuku. Did you hear that? We have to hurry, they're in danger. Venom. You're right, I'll leave you in control, transforming into phase 1 of the suit, which is the fastest and most agile. Then, using his webs, he went straight to his target. 1 time skip. Izuku arrived, but he was somewhat tired because he had used OFA several times and swinging had hurt his arms, but the good thing was that he finally arrived at the Pussycats camp. Izuku F1. I have to find them quickly, however, I hear some very heavy footsteps. When I turn around, I have to move back a little because of what I see. What the hell is that thing? Looking at a Nomu that instead of having hands had saws and had more than 2 limbs. Venom. Watch out, he warned him about the Nomu's attack, which he managed to dodge by jumping to the side. Then the monster attacked with all its arms, but none of them landed. Izuku then used one for all at 10%, entangling the Nomu in his webs to immobilize it until he finally landed a punch that knocked it out. After that, he saw another individual who also had more than 2 arms, but he wasn't a villain. Izuku F1. That's not. Shoji. This way. Calling the silver-haired boy's attention. Shoji. Midoriya, is that you? Running towards his position. I'm really glad to see you, but not under these circumstances. Izuku F1. I agree, but what happened here and to the others? The green-haired boy asked worriedly. Shoji. I don't know, we got separated. There are a lot of villains around, The teachers and heroes are trying to fight them and I got lost. We have to find him now," he said desperately. Izuku F1. "Relax, I have a plan." As he said that, he activated OFA at 25% and jumped to a great height to get a better view of where they were. "Shoji. Do you see anyone?" Shouting from the green-haired boy's height. Izuku F1. "I think so. Now on solid ground, follow me," he just nodded. Then both boys ran until they found Uraraka and Tsuyu, who was pinned to a tree by a knife from Himiko Toga. Toga. Watching Shoji from afar, "They're coming, if I stay they'll kill me." But just as she was about to leave, she noticed who was with him. Izuku, still in his suit. This caused the crazy blonde to blush and then run away. Toga. "No way, he really came. I'm so excited." Screaming like a fangirl, "I hope he does one of his massacres." Back with the boys. Shoji. "Are the girls all right?" Helping Tsuyu. Tsuyu. "Yes, thank you. Did you find anyone?" the frog asked. Shoji. "Well, let's just say I found our old friend," pointing at the green-haired boy. Both. Izuku Midoriya. Izuku. "Hee. Hi girls," waving and somewhat nervous. Tsuyu. "It's so good to have you here, Jero." Approaching him, but a brunette ran at top speed just to hug him. Jero. Izuku. "Oh, hi Uraraka," noticing he has a wound on his shoulder. "Uraraka, are you okay?" Uraraka. "Shish, don't ruin the moment," still hugging. "Okay, that's enough, how did you find us?" the brunette asked. Izuku. "Ah, well, I have my contacts," scratching the back of his neck, "but that's not the point. Now we have to find the rest." "Okay." They nodded and began searching. After a while, they found the rest of their classmates. Denki, Kota Kirishima, Shiro, Tokiyami, Momo, Jiro, and Mina. They were still stunned by the boy's return, but even more so knowing what he had. They decided to ask Denki. "Hey Midoriya, can we meet him?" Looking at the green-haired boy far ahead of the rest of the group. Izuku stopped abruptly and turned his head. "Do you really want to meet him?" Everyone. "Yes." Izuku. Sighs. "Okay, Venom, you know what to do." As he said that, the symbiote's head manifested. Venom. Dale, stretching his neck until he was close to them. "Hello, everything all right?" They were still speechless. "Well, I suppose you'll have a lot of questions." They nodded. "Well, tell me." Kaminari. "Okay, what do you eat first?" he asked, but was stunned by Jiro's jacks. Jiro. "Idiot, so when did you two meet?" Venom. "Oh well, that was when Izuku was 4 years old." Kota. "So you've known him since he was a child?" asked the shy kid in the class. Venom. "Yes, we made a deal that if he let me live in his body I would help him become a hero." Jiro. "So you're doing it for convenience?" Annoyed. The purple-haired girl. Venom. "At first, yes, but the more I continued with him, something changed, and I wanted to keep connecting with him, so here we are." Momo. Raises her hand. "Hey Midoriya, I mean, thanks to his symbiosis," referring to him, "he can control his other quirk well. How do you do it?" Venom. "Ah well, I can enhance all of a person's senses, and apparently I could do that with his quirk too. So far, I control 90% of it, and since he trained while we were doing our activities, he has 20% that he controls on his own." Momo. "I see, so phases 1 through 4 have a specific percentage?" The dark-haired woman asked. Venom. "Yes, and many other things. For example, I got the webs because I ate a spider and was able to copy its abilities." Mina. "That's disgusting," complaining. Venom. "Bah, I've eaten worse, but anyway, phase 1 controls 25%, it's the most agile and fastest of them all, but the least resistant. Phase 2 controls 50%, it's less fast but has good resistance. Phase 3 is the slowest of them all, but the strongest, it controls 75%, and finally, Phase 4, that's my favorite since I can have total control of Izuku's body." Tokiyami. "I see, but why didn't you say anything about yourselves before?" the human bird asked curiously. Venom. "What do you think, bird? If they knew of my existence, Naomasa would have found me long before and separated me from Izuku, and I'm not crazy enough to break away from him." Tokiyami. "That's why they escaped from the festival stadium." Just as he was about to answer, Izuku called him from inside his head. This caught the attention of his friends, who stopped because the green-haired boy. Venom. Is something wrong? Izuku. Yes, hiding in some bushes, there they are. Now we leave it as in the previous chapter, that is, Izuku warning him that he detected several presences and they were the League of Villains with new members, a lizard man, a blonde girl, one who had stitches on his body and has the gift of fire, and finally a madman with bipolar disorder. Venom. I understand there are like 4 of us, we can handle this. Kirishima. Hey Midoriya, what's up? Approaching slowly, just like the green-haired boy did. Izuku F1. Look, whispering and pointing at the villains, do you think you can fight? He just nodded. Good, tell the rest to get ready. Then the redhead left, leaving Izuku alone to warn the others. However, the freckled boy looked more closely and was shocked. He saw that his former childhood friend was unconscious and being carried by a guy with his hand over his face. Venom. Damn, well this will be the second time we've saved him. Then, without waiting for anyone, he charged at the villains. This took him by surprise, but one named David attacked him with his blue flame, which he barely dodged, but it left him injured. Tamura. Distract him. Kurogiri, open a portal for me. Then Kurogiri created a portal and slowly made his way through it, weighed down by the ash-blonde boy. Meanwhile, Izuku used One for All to knock out Dabi, but Toga intervened. Toga. Oh, it's a shame we're not on the same side, sitting on his chest. We would have killed dozens together, but oh well, what can you do? She's about to stab him, but Shoji hits her, causing Toga to back away. Shoji. Are you alright, Midoriya? He asked as he helped him up. Izuku F1. Yes, thank you. I need you to hold off the rest while I get Bakugo back, pointing at him. Shoji. Okay. Then the green-haired boy started running, almost catching him. However, the black mist split him, making it impossible to grab him. But when he could see Tamura, he was just centimeters away. Finally, he closed the portal, leaving the boy in shock. This caused him to fall to his knees and watch as the League left. However, he released Venom and quickly managed to catch one of them before he disappeared through the portals created by Kurogiri. Venom. I've got you. Attracting a villain with a lizard-like appearance. Uraraka. Izuku, what happened? But then she saw the symbiote in its complete form. Venom. They escaped and took Kachan with them. This left everyone present frozen, but they didn't have time. Kirishima. So what can we do? Venom. They can't do anything, but we can, tightening his grip to the point of strangling the lizard. Tell me where they took him. Spiner. I don't know, trying to get away. Tokiyami. He doesn't know, leave him alone. Venom. Don't believe it, you birdbrain, insulting the bird. I have my ways of making them confide, come here. Dragging it to some bushes, leaving those present with a strange look. Denki. What do you think he'll do to her? The electric blonde asked fearfully. Juro. I don't want to imagine it. But suddenly a scream full of agony frightened those present, but they needed to know the location, so they just ignored it until the symbiote came out dragging Spiner by the foot. Venom. Okay, they're in the city center, to be more specific a bar. Well, I'm signing off. By doing that, Izuku activated One for All to its fullest extent, only to see a brunette with glassy eyes, which surprised everyone. Venom. We're very sorry. Saying that, she jumped to great heights, losing sight of everyone in Class 1A. This caused Uraraka to cry because she didn't know if she would return or not. With the duo, Izuku asked Venom to transform him into Phase 1 so the search would be faster as they got closer to their destination. Venom wondered if this would be their last adventure as vigilantes, since seeing the surprised and happy faces of his former teammates made both him and Midoriya happy. But then an idea crossed his mind. Venom. Hey Izuku. In a worried tone. Izuku. Is something wrong, Venom? Confused by the symbiote's tone. Venom. Hey, just in case, if we don't make it out of this alive, I just want you to know that it was an honor to be your friend and part of your family. Izuku. Hee, it's also a pleasure to be by your side, but we'll win this one. But when he said that, a huge earthquake could be felt coming from the center. Well, to make a long story short, it happened almost exactly like in the anime. I need to rewatch it. All Might was facing his archenemy, the symbol of peace. Both were giving it their all, but All Might could no longer continue, to the point of being unable to transform. All the surrounding heroes were seriously injured, and only Toshinori was left standing. All for one. Well, I've waited so long for this exact moment. Saying that, he activates all his quirks in one arm. After that, your beloved successor will follow, and the One for All lineage will end. All Might. You won't touch him while I have my feet on the ground. Trying to get up but still weak. All for one. Ha ha ha, that can be fixed, pointing his arm towards the Shinori. Say hi to Nana for me. All Might. He simply closed his eyes to await the impact, but while doing so he thought, sorry for leaving you alone, young Midoriya and Venom. However, he didn't feel the impact or even the breeze, but he heard a noise as if something was crashing. All Might. When he looked up his eyes widened. Izuku. Apparently he arrived just in time. He was in phase 4 using One for All at 80%, then with one hand he created the spiked ball and threw it at AFO, causing him to back away and deactivate his quirks. Izuku, Venom. Relax, you know why. Because we're here. All Might. Guys, please leave. This is my fight. I don't want to see another OFA wielder dead. Izuku, Venom. Oromedo, that won't happen. Besides, you trained us for this exact moment. Please trust us. Standing in front of All Might to defend him and take any impact. All Might. You remind me of myself. Okay, I trust you. Izuku, Venom. Thank you. Watching AFO rejoin the group. Venom. Hey, use 100%, leaving the freckled boy in shock. Izuku. What? But that will kill you. Venom. Shut up, just do it. Besides, we have to show everyone what we can do. Seeing a helicopter with a camera in the distance. Izuku. Sighing, but he knew it was the only way to defeat this guy. Okay. Then Izuku continued to concentrate to reach 100%, but Venom tried to cover Midoriya again, doing so slowly to avoid hurting himself. When he completely covered him, One for All was released, causing a gust of wind. All for one. What the hell are you? Covering his head with his forearms. He walked slowly, dust still swirling in the air, but green and black rays seemed to surround him, revealing his phase 5 inches form. His appearance changed, but not drastically. The spider on his chest spread across his entire body. Venom and Izuku's musculature increased, and he wore a smile somewhat reminiscent of All Might. Izuku, Venom. All for one, now you will know the full power of One for All, you will meet maximum Venom. We now find ourselves in the same scenario as in the previous chapter. The area of approximately 1 kilometer was destroyed, the heroes defeated, including All Might. Only the symbiotic alliance remains, now forming phase 5, also known as maximum Venom. Meanwhile, we see Mrs. Midoriya cooking, still distraught over her son's disappearance. When she saw Venom's fight against Todoroki, she was momentarily frightened, believing the symbiote had been killed. Somehow, throughout the time Venom was with Izuku, she saw him as another member of the family, even as her son, but what she saw on television left her shocked. Reporter. As we can see, the number 1 hero All Might could have died if it weren't for the subject's intervention, pointing the camera at the confrontation between AFO and maximum Venom. Inko. What? Kneeling in front of the television, please God, take good care of them. Back to the city, All for One attacked with silver whips, however Venom, using One for All, propelled himself through the space between the whips, but one of them grazed the duo's arm, causing a piece of the black mass to break off. Venom F5. Grumbling and landing in a safe place while dodging his opponent's attacks. Izuku F5. Venom. Are you okay? Looking at the missing part of the symbiote. Venom F5. Relax, don't worry, saying this while looking at his wound, which then regenerates. Izuku, Venom F5. Is that all you've got? Green and black lightning appears again. All for one. There's still quite a bit left. When he said that, AFO used teleportation to appear behind Venom and strike him with his arm, which had transformed into several solid elements. They took the full impact, but thanks to One for All, he was able to withstand it quite well. However, he couldn't react because AFO attacked again with a gust of wind, pushing Venom into the air. But Izuku, using his webs, was able to stop it. Venom didn't stop there. Using his tentacles, he wrapped AFO around his entire body to jump to a great height, attracting him. Then, using a small percentage of OFA, and to avoid tiring himself, he punched him in the face, causing the villain to plummet. All for one. Gah! Spitting a little blood from his mask as he watched the symbiote approaching at top speed. Then it recovers and, activating an earth quirk, creates a mountain, halting the symbiote's advance. Izuku, Venom F5. Damn it, I'll have to go all in or nothing, activating 100% of one for all. We have to do this quickly, we don't know how long we can last. Then, in the blink of an eye, they were within millimeters of AFO, startling him slightly, only to deliver a hook that sent him flying. The villain responded by creating another tentacle made of metal. Venom responded in kind, transforming his arm into a spear to counterattack. All for one deactivated his quirk and with a swift movement from his hands launched fireballs in Venom's direction. Venom dodged them, but the heat radiating from them was weakening him, as was one for all. All for one. That's enough. As he said that, his fists turned into titanium. I'll take care of you and your master. Izuku, Venom F5. Come here and try it. Then all for one lunged at him, causing an exchange of blows. Thanks to a resistance quirk, he was able to withstand Venom's blows. On the other hand, we can see that Izuku was bleeding inside due to using 100%. Izuku, Venom F5. You let your guard down. Strikes in the stomach with OFA, causing a bulge to protrude from the back, indicating the depth of the blow. All for one. Ah! You damned bastard! Unleashing a sonic wave, momentarily stunning the symbiote. Tell me one thing. Watching it writhe on the ground, knowing Venom's past, why did you choose the path of the hero? You know, I can let you die, or, you can join me. Izuku, Venom. What? Trying to endure the pain but couldn't. All for one. Think about it. Together with OFA and my powers, we could reduce this society of heroes to ashes. Besides, what has society done for you? All of this was recorded by the news crew, who could also hear the conversation of those present. All for one. You were special, but in the end, people didn't accept you, and you had to run away. Why are you still with that weakling? Join me, and we'll be at the top together. With that, he extended his hand towards where the symbiote was. Only a few seconds passed, neither of them uttering a word, but suddenly, Venom raised his hand, palm open, as if submitting to the number one villain. This shocked both Izuku and the viewers. When their hands touched, a wide smile spread across AFO's face behind his mask. However, it was quickly erased as the grip tightened until a crack was heard. All for one. Ah! Slowly walking away while holding his broken hand. You damned wretch, we could have dominated everything, been on top, why are you still with that weakling? Venom F5. Very simple, old man. Becoming serious, I stopped being a villain a long time ago. Getting up from the ground, although I used to aim to be the best at everything, I realized something. Looking him in the eyes, that's not the important thing. Thanks to Izuku, I was able to have something much better than other vessels. I had a family, even a woman I could consider a mother who cares about me. And I won't lose that just because I want to be better than others. We will now fight for justice. Getting into a fighting stance, so get ready, all for one, and test the power of our symbiotic alliance. As he says that, Izuku activates OFA beyond its limits, causing his body to be surrounded by black lightning. Izuku. Venom, he said, surprised because he never expected to hear those words. Then they resumed fighting, exchanging blows, but AFO used his ace up his sleeve, which is to use all his quirks in one attack. Izuku F5. Damn it, Venom, we'll have to use the same technique. Saying that, he gathered all the power of One for All into his right arm, causing red lines to appear on his limb. Venom. Izuku, that's crazy. You could lose an arm if we miss. Worried about missing the punch. Izuku F5. Relax, just make sure I don't die, okay? Venom. Okay, let's do it. When they said that, Izuku began to exert 100% of his power in just his arm, at the cost of breaking bones every second while Venom regenerated them. Then, with the speed of One for All, he leapt, pulling his arm back behind him, just to say, Izuku, Venom F5. Symbiontyc smash. Descending like a meteorite headed towards AFO, he also attacked with all his quirks. They were now in a clash of power where both were giving their all to win. This caused a great explosion on the battlefield, forcing the cameras and All Might to retreat. However, this didn't last much longer, as All for One's arm was destroyed to clear the way, and to finish him off, he struck him in the mask, leaving him almost dead. Izuku, Venom F5. Breathing heavily as he completely deactivated One for All, causing him to revert to Phase 4. Let's finish this. As he said that, he created a breast to kill him, however, he felt something on his back. All Might. Youngsters, please leave him alone. Trying to stand up, but falls to his knees and is helped by Venom and Izuku. He no longer poses any danger, we just need to put him in prison. Venom F4. Sighing, I understand. Are you feeling alright, All Might? Well, despite having multiple injuries, broken bones, and having to use OFA to get here, I'm fine. Trying to reassure the duo. Venom F4. Hee, okay, just let me heal you. Shinori was then covered by the symbiote's black mass. It took a little longer than expected, but he no longer had any wounds. All Might. Sighing happily, well, thank you very much, and by the way. But she realized she felt something different in her lower abdomen. No way. Izuku, Venom. What's going on? All Might. My old wound. Showing his stomach and seeing that he no longer had any scar. You know what this means, I'll be able to use One for All like in the old days. Hugging the symbiote while transforming into its muscular form. Thank you very much. Izuku. You're welcome. But he couldn't because he was vomiting blood, implying that he had an internal hemorrhage. All Might. Young Midoriya. Gently placing him on the ground and positioning his head to the side so he doesn't choke. Venom, what's wrong with him? Venom. Manifesting his head using the limits of One for All weakened us greatly, and when I healed you, I used my last bit of strength. I can barely move. All Might. Don't worry, I'll take you to a hospital. One day later, we see a freckled boy asleep with several machines connected to him, reporting his condition, but now he would be awakened by the sunlight that crossed his face. Izuku. Where am I? Looking around a white room with several machines, he noticed something else. He felt an extra weight. Oh. Uraraka. She was there as soon as she knew where he was, so she decided to wait for him. However, when she realized that Izuku was already awake, her eyes widened until she lunged at him. Izuku. Izuku. You Uraraka, what are you doing here? Nervous because he was hugging her tightly. Uraraka. Idiot, you worried me so much. I saw your fight on TV. For a moment I thought you were going to die. Sniff, crying on the green-haired boy's shoulder. Izuku. Returns the hug. I'm sorry, but if I hadn't intervened, All Might could have died. She stops leaning on his shoulder to look him in the face. Don't worry, I promise he wouldn't die. I'll keep that promise. Uraraka. Thank you, and I wanted to tell you something else. She said the last part sadly. Venom. He was watching all of this and was very sure of what was coming. Of all the best moments I shared with him, this will be one of the best. He thought to himself so as not to interrupt the moment. Izuku. Sure Uraraka, what's up? The freckled boy asked. Uraraka. Well, she couldn't speak, however she mustered up the courage to lunge in. The boy was perplexed by Ochako's actions, but in the end, he loved her too, so he simply returned the kiss, which was filled with emotion for both of them, until they ran out of air. Izuku. Agitated but still surprised. So why you? Uraraka. That's right, Izuku, I love you. Before, I thought it was just admiration, but the things that happened made me realize how much I love you. Please, holding the freckled boy's hands, I want to be by your side. Izuku. I love you too, very much. Then he kisses her again briefly but with the same emotions. Uraraka. That makes me really happy. Oh, by the way, your mom's here. I'll call her. Getting out of bed to head for the exit, she smiled at him as she opened the door and finally left the room. Izuku. Sighing as he rests his head on the pillow. God, I can't believe what happened. Venom. Ha, you should have seen your face, you were so pale. Ha, mocking the boy. Izuku. Venom, don't be like that. Besides, it was my first kiss, so now we're Venom. They're dating, yes, congratulations, but seriously, I think it's time to go back to UA. Izuku. I agree, but why do you want to do it? He asked. Venom. Simply put, the things I've seen with my former hosts, no one else should see, and I don't want you to go through the same thing. I think it's better for us to become professional heroes instead of vigilantes. Izuku. I understand, I just hope they accept us as we are. Naomasa. That's what I'm saying, said the detective, startling the person present. Venom. Ah, you again. Naomasa. Calm down, I didn't come here to fight. He calmed them down, as All Might was behind him. Izuku. Okay, but how did you get here? All Might. Through the back door, pointing to a door behind him. Izuku. Venom. I see. And what does he want? Pointing at the detective. Naomasa. I just wanted to tell you that you did very well, leaving them both shocked. Izuku. Venom. What? Naomasa. You saved All Might from certain death and then defeated one of Japan's most dangerous villains, so why should I let you go? Besides, All Might convinced me to leave you as you are. Izuku. Thank you so much. I swear you won't regret it. Bows from the bed. All Might. Hee hee, no problem, but now you'll have to be under my supervision, understand? Izuku. Venom. Looking at each other. Okay. Epilogue. Well, everything was settled. Izuku returned to UA where all his classmates from Class 1A welcomed him back with open arms. And that wasn't all. Uraraka was now Midoriya's girlfriend. Although it was awkward at first, they gradually got used to it. Later, All Might, wanting to keep a closer eye on him, decided to stay at Inko's house as a supervisor. This surprised Inko's mother, but now, when they all shared a meal, they seemed like a family. 2 months had passed since then, but one day Izuku received a message from an unknown contact. What he didn't know was that it would change his life and his perspective. Now we see Izuku in phase 1 of the symbiote suit swinging towards the location he was told, but the surprise was that it was in the Kamino forest. That was the first place where the duo met. Izuku. F1. Okay, you should be here, touching the ground and looking around. Venom. Are you sure it's not a trap? The symbiote asked. Izuku. F1. Nah, I don't think so, but in the distance he could see a silhouette of a person approaching. Activate phase 2 inches. Venom. Understood, transforming into the appearance of Agent Venom. Who are you? However, that silhouette was not alone, it was accompanied by another person. See, I told you, it's not a good idea to recruit him, in a serious tone and showing what he looked like. The subject was wearing a white suit with some red details. On his wristbands he had triggers that appeared to be miniguns, and he also wore a helmet of the same color, but the striking thing was that it had a red sight. Izuku. F2. Who are you and why did you want to see me? Activating 50% of OFA. The triggers of the aforementioned subject began to rotate, indicating that he was reloading. This could have ended badly if his partner hadn't intervened. Dash question mark question mark question mark question mark. 2. Wow, calm down, we didn't come here to fight. Killshot. Please lower your weapons, you two. Pointing at the duo, revealing the appearance of his companion. He wore a rather voluptuous green armor. His shoulder pads were enormous, but what was most striking was that his helmet had 2 horns similar to those of a bull with some golden details. Killshot. Okay, he said reluctantly, and Izuku did the same. Izuku. F2. Well, if you didn't come to fight, why did you call me? He asked with his arms crossed. Dash question mark question mark question mark question mark. 2. Well, my name is Bulllight, and well, this might seem strange to you, but taking off his helmet, and the first thing he noticed was about 4 freckles on each side. We are also Izuku's. Post-credit scene. It was night, the moon shone on those it brought luck to, and there was the exception. We see an older man dressed in a black shirt and white tie, accompanied by black trousers, but what stood out were his gloves and a light brown face mask. He was walking through the streets of Tokyo, but now he found himself in the aftermath of the battle between All for One and Maximum Venom. He was just passing through, however, something caught his attention. What is that? Looking from afar, he walked until he crossed the security tapes. He just ignored it until he picked up some rubble and looked surprised at his discovery. What is this? The masked man asked, surprised to find a piece of Venom's black mask that had been separated during the fight. Interesting, holding a jar in his hand. Post-credits scene. That same night, a boy could be seen crying because of the loss of his master. That boy was named Tamura. Now he was alone in a forest so that no one from the League would see him cry. He could only look at the sky and remember that AFO had sent him and the League to another place so that they would be safe. Tamura. You damned bastard. Destroying a tree until it's completely withered. I should have been with him. Looking up at the sky again until he sees what looks like a shooting star. I wish I had the power to kill Izuku Midoriya. However, his eyes had deceived him. The star was approaching in the direction of Tamura. Tamura. Oh damn it. Running in the opposite direction to create a safe distance. Good. That's what the light blue-haired boy could hear. He couldn't get far from the impact zone. This caused many serious injuries, but that wasn't the worst thing that would happen. From the crashing meteorite came a viscous, silvery mass that headed towards Tamura. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to like and please hype this video. Now we will see you in the next video.